Hey, hi everyone. How are you all doing? I hope you guys have. Sorry. Yeah, you're watching me put on my wristwatch. Hey, I was racing against time so that I can be here early. Just few minutes to when the live stream was about to go on. A couple of things started coming up that I had to attend to. You know, and in the mix, I was talking to one of you, and she was like, "You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to." I'm like, hey, Shimwania. I hope this live stream will go well. It will. It will. It will, guys. It will go well. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Um, I can see D. I can see Tabitha. I can see Sash. Uh, I'm well. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you. See, people who care about me. You know, unlike some people that unlike some people that I know. Hey, this is Fabo Yode saying hi. Thank you. How are you? Are you watching us from Nigeria or are you a Nigerian in diaspora? How are you? This is love, all lawful good. Shalom, shalom to you too. Mostly said, is anybody still surprised that people in this day and age can still auction people for marriage? Well, if you are somebody who grew up in Nigeria, this is a very, very familiar stories. Yes, Jazz. Jazz is saying, hey to you, how are you? How are you? How is South Africa? Um said I am in Nigeria and in Canada. How is Canada? How is the weather over there? How is summer over there in Canada? I believe it is summer this time of the year, right? I believe it is. How is the summer? How is the summer? I hope it is treating you guys well. Uh, this is from Joy. Joy Chikezie. Say hello from South Nigeria in Borno State. A South Nigerian Christian in Borno State. I hope you are safe, nne. I hope it is safe. Hey, Chimo. I hope you are safe. Jess is letting us know that she's just done with dishes. You see, that's it. Well, this is what we see from committed court members. They get things ready on time so that they can be present fully. I'm looking for can you not? Can you not? Are you in the chat or are you not in the chat? Just says South Africa is chilly at night. 16 degrees tonight was 10 last night. Wow. So it's kind of like the winter, sort of. I don't know. I don't know what seasons you guys have over there. Joy is saying, I am, bro. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Whenever I hear of people from the south or Christians from the south who are living, especially in Borno State, like even when I hear from Kaduna, I'm like, yeah, people in Kaduna, especially if you're staying in Zaria, you can be safe if you're staying in Zaria. I guess that's my speculation for those who are staying in Kaduna. If you're staying in Abuja, you're safe if you're staying in places like Wuse Kubwa. You know, I guess Maitama as well. Those kind of places are like safe. But then if you're staying in Abuja and you're staying at the outskirts, I'm like, hey, Jesus. So people will say I'm starting already and I'm already using the name of the Lord in vain. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm speaking as a Nigerian. All right. And then when you now hear people who say they're staying in Borno State, I'm like, hey, Borno. Are there places in Borno State that are like safe? I used to feel like the whole of the state is just, not safe. Well, what do I know? This is Onugu Tochuku from Ghana, watching us from Ghana. See, we have people all over West Africa, but from his name, you can tell that he's a Nigerian in Ghana. Karobi said it was 16 degrees last night here and it's summer. Wow. 16 degrees. Is it 16 degrees? Of course, it will be Celsius, right? 16 degrees and it's summer. Anyways, over here in Nigeria, it is always summer. So, and yesterday it was 24 degrees. when I checked, 24 degrees. And it was like rain, it was the rainy season, so I won't even call it summer. Hey, there we have a Folabi Lawa. How are you? How are you? How are you? So let me greet each one of you. Hey, we have somebody who is catching us live for the first time. Finally caught one of your streams. I am happy that you are here. And I hope you stay with us till the end. Can you not? Finally, the person that I'm looking for. And she's not even saying hi to me. I guess somebody is snubbing me. Anyways, how is everyone? How are you all doing? I hope your day went well. I hope your country is treating you well wherever you are watching us from. Uh, and I hope that the peace of the Lord is with you, not the peace of Allah. The peace of Allah can be shaky. But I believe what you are experiencing is the peace of the Lord. Don't worry, this is not a Christian show. This is not a solely Christian show. It's a Christian that is running it, but it's not. We are not running Sunday service here. So, people of every religion, even Muslims, you are advised to tune in because so many of you will get to learn about your religion from just listening to me. Because as it turns out, your imams sometimes are not telling you the truth. Yeah. Kayinat is saying hello for the 5th time today, Frank. How many times did you say hello in this? Anyways, how often do you say hello? You're making it look like you say hello all the time. You don't. Anyways, let's not air people's dirty laundry in public. Anyways, where else? Where else are we? What else do we have to say? Okay, so in this live stream, we're talking about mass weddings in Nigeria. Mass weddings. People may not know this, but it's a common practice in northern Nigeria. Right? It's a common practice. The last one that happened or was planned to happen was in May. That one was over 100 girls were to be married off. And that was, they were planning it, but I don't think they went ahead with the plan because the Minister for Women Affairs was objected to it and kind of, took the organizers to court to prevent them from going ahead with the plan, saying, this is, she was really opposed to it as saying it was child marriage that was going on and that Niger State, luckily, has domesticated the Child Rights Act of Nigeria. So the Child Rights Act of Nigeria applies in Niger State. So she was taking the groups that were organizing the wedding to court to, get an injunction to stop them from organizing the wedding. So I think that was either halted or postponed. I don't know or whether it even went ahead and happened. I'm not sure. So yes, that was the earliest before the one we are talking about that just happened last week. The earliest, mention or plan of such was in March. Then I think 8 months ago, which is like around November, there was a plan in Kano. I think that one went ahead and happened. Over 1,000 girls. That was over 1,000. We are married of mass, marriage. So it's a common practice in the north. And often it is organized. Some of these events are organized by prominent members of society, often politicians. Like what we are talking about today was organized by a lawmaker. And what is interesting about this lawmaker, one of the many things that are interesting about him is that one, this is a very young person. When you see his picture, you realize just how young this human being is. And you expect that the younger generation, like people always say, the younger generation will not follow the footsteps of, their elders. The younger people get, the future generation will drop certain ancient barbaric practices, right? But we see that even somebody that is young, like now we are going to go ahead and organize what our fathers before us we are organizing. And we'll look at it and also look at child marriage as a whole in Nigeria and we'll be hearing from victims of child marriage. Or as you will say, as Muslims will say, just women who we are married as, young women. That's what they won't be seen as victims. Islamically speaking, they are just like everyone else, And we're also going to be listening to Daniel Hakikacho and what's his name again? And Mohammed Hijab tell us why child marriage is okay. So let me tell you how this is going to go. first thing we are going to listen to. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Okay, first things you guys are, we are going to read the articles that talk about the recent mass weddings in Nigeria and what it says. That's the first thing we are going to look at. Then we are going to I think we're going to see a clip of those who organized the one in Niger State and what they gave as the reason why they are going ahead to organize it, and how the minister who was opposed to it was poorly informed. In fact, some of the organizers were calling for the minister to resign because she opposed their plan to marry over 100 women in Niger State. That's the Niger State. The one we are talking about today, one that brought up this conversation, happened in Zamfara State. So it's a different state. Don't worry, I'll bring up my map so that you guys will know which state I'm talking about and where each state is located. Okay? So when I say Zamfara, you know this is Zamfara. When I say Niger State, you know where is Niger State. When I say Kano State, you know where Kano State is, because these are the three states we'll be talking about, and also Kaduna State. So we'll be talking about Kaduna State as well. The 12 states essentially are the states where Islamic law is being practiced in Nigeria. So 12, we already know. If you are a constant viewer of my live stream, there was a live stream I did where I showed every state where they are located, so you understand. But I'll bring my map up again. I'll bring it up again so that everyone will know where each of these events where they are taking place. So yeah, after we watch the clip, then we'll also listen to women tell their stories, right? Many survivors of child marriage, the ones who are alive to tell the story, because one thing you need to know is that many of these women lose their life during childbirth. And if those who do not lose their life during childbirth, some of them end up having VVF. And we are going to look at victims of child marriage, those who end up having VVF, and how they are treated. We are going to listen to journalists talk about it. And we are also going to be reading the Quran and the Hadith, so that people can see where exactly this idea is coming from, for those who are still confused. And yeah, so that's what we'll be talking about today. I hope you guys are ready. If you are ready, say child marriage in the comments. If you are ready, say Aisha in the comments. Aisha is what you should say. Say Aisha in the comments if you are ready. I want to say Aisha. People posting Aisha. If you are ready, let me know. Let me know. I'm ready. Once I start seeing Aisha, now we'll get straight into it. If I don't see any Aisha in the comments, Okay, I see one Aisha. Oh, I see. Oh, I see two. A lot of people three people are ready. Let's get up to 10 Aishas and then we'll go into it. There's even justice for Aisha. There's Aisha wrong with 2S. All right. Let's get into it. So the first thing we are going to do is look at the news article that talks about this, right? That's where we are going to begin. Let me share my screen. All right, so here's the headline. Zamfara lawmaker sponsors mass wedding of 105 orphans. The married couples were provided. Generous man, he provided them with beds and mattresses. Oh, this is interesting. We're already up to a very interesting start. He provided them with beds and mattresses, and an additional 105 million was paid as dowry for these women. That's 110. No, I said 105. 10.5 million naira. Let's convert 10.5 million naira to dollars so that people will know how much this is. Because if we are calling it in naira, you think it's one huge sum of money. 10.5 million naira to dollars. So that's what what was offered as dowry for these 105 orphans was approximately 6,600 US dollars. Let's call it 6,700 US dollars. That was what was paid as dowry for these women. Okay. So, and you can see that the people who are getting married are financially buoyant. So financially buoyant that the government have to buy mattresses and beds for them so that they can consummate the marriage. Alhamdulillah. These are things that you need to put into consideration when you want to go ahead with things like this. It's important you pay attention to details. This is Islamic thoroughness. Okay, very very thorough Islamic practice. All right. So the lawmaker representing Maru Bugundu Federal Constituency in Zamfara State, Abdulmalik Zubairu, has sponsored the mass wedding of 105 orphans whose parents were killed by armed bandits in Zamfara State. Important thing to note is that these people became orphans because people who are peace spreaders. One thing you should know whenever we are talking about things in the north is that when you see things like bandits, what is another one they use, militants and stuff like that, they are referring to Islamic terrorists. Some of them Boko Haram, some of them ISWAP, some of them just Fulani headsmen, kidnappers and stuff. So due to the activities of the peacefuls in those regions, these children have become orphans. About 105 of them have become orphans. And the lawmaker in this state is like, how do we help the orphans that we now have due to insecurity? How do we help them? What is the best way to help them? Now, if you are a sensible person, or at least you believe yourself to be sensible because you are educated in the way of the West, which is haram, by the way, if you've been educated in that way, you say, okay, what's the best way to help these girls? Oh, the best way to help them is by educating them, allowing them finish school, giving them scholarship even to study to tertiary level, teach them entrepreneurship skills and stuff like that, and train them and allow them to, find their footing financially and, economically. They're both the same thing anyway. So that would be what you have in mind. But when you are thinking as a true child of Almighty Allah, and you realize that in the Quran, it is important for women to get married, and you live in a culture that promotes that women getting married is what is more important than anything else. Okay, so you look at a 15-year-old who is now an orphan, some of them 14, 13-year-olds who are now orphans, and you're like, how do we help them? Well, you know what is efficient, very efficient way of helping them is to marry them off. Okay, you marry them off. And that's what this lawmaker from Zamfara State did. He married off these girls, thinking, like a smart person. The occasion which took place on Saturday in this town, the headquarters of this local government area of the state, was attended by prominent personalities, both within and outside the state. I know so many people who have gotten married in this country who prominent personalities did not attend their wedding. But in a mass wedding like this, you have dignitaries, political figures, elites, and what have you, attending this because this is phenomenal. This is exceptional. This is the kind of event that, that shows that you are indeed working as a politician and helping your people. Mass wedding is a common tradition in northern Nigeria aimed at supporting parents who cannot afford to marry out their daughters due to economic hardship. So this is done to support parents, okay? Despite the fact that these children in question don't have parents, but this is done to support parents who cannot afford to marry out their daughters due to economic hardship. There's so many things wrong with this statement. I don't know who works for Channels News, who wrote this rubbish and thought, yeah, I just wrote one of the smartest things I'll ever write in my journalistic career. Mass wedding is a common tradition in northern Nigeria aimed at supporting parents who cannot afford to marry out their daughters due to economic hardship. This is so like false on so many levels, because the reason why many children end up getting married young in the north is because of economic hardship. Economic hardship does not prevent the marriage. Economic hardship is one of the reasons the marriage exists in the first place. Who in the north has tried to marry out their daughter and they're like, oh, we are unable to do that because we didn't have money? This is not India, where the woman is the one paying the dowry. This is northern Nigeria. It's the man who pays the dowry. And this is Islam. It's the man who pays the dowry. However, in recent times, the tradition has faced a lot of criticisms. Despite the recent criticisms, this lawmaker has sponsored the wedding of the orphans. Both the brides and the grooms were gorgeously dressed. You can see them here, dressed gorgeously. Gorgeously dressed during the event, which attracted the attention of thousands of people. Aisha is a 15-year-old orphan from the local government area of Zamfara State, and she told Channels Television that she was not forced to marry her lover. You see, this 15-year-old was in love. She is in not was she is in love, okay, and she's really in love, and she can consent to marriage, and you can see clearly that she's not being forced. Okay, she's doing it of her freely. It's consensual. We know for a fact that a 15-year-old can consent to marriage. It's just powerful stuff. The same sentiment was shared by Halima, another orphan from the same local government. It is my decision. No one forced me to get married. This same girl now that is saying it is her decision at the age of 15. By the time she is 16 and she's already pregnant, and then she has VVF due to the pregnancy, what are we going to say? Oh, do these children have what it takes to make a well-informed decision about something like this? No. This is what they've been told to. I allegedly, I am inferring here, but my speculation can be, you can bank on it, 80%, that she was made to say this. She was told to say this to the press. The same sentiment was, okay, it is my decision. No one forced me to get married. I pray for all of us that are given this opportunity, and those that are not privileged. My advice is for them to try and get married. Yes, a 15-year-old is advising every other girl to try. Interesting. Halima said, it is my choice. We appreciate this gesture, and may Almighty Allah reward him abundantly. That's talking about the senator who has given them the greatest gift of a husband. Also speaking with Channels News is Jumilu Adamu, a 20-year-old. This is one of the grooms. A 20-year-old is probably going to be given to a 15 or 14-year-old who is among the grooms. Said he had a choice of selecting his bride. I selected my wife based on my choice. I will do justice to her because I choose her by myself as a bride because we love each other. Alhamdulillah. I like that. 15 and 20. Powerful. Speaking during the occasion, the Honorable Zubairu said he was aware of the hardship being experienced by those whose parents were killed by bandits. He said he has also provided scholarship for over 5,000 students within the last 1 year as a federal lawmaker representing his constituents. Interesting. Okay. I commend you. You know what? Credit where credit is due. You gave 5,000 students scholarship. I commend you for that. My constituents has so many challenges. I don't know why this scholarship could not extend to the 100 girls. I wonder why, but hey, look, at least you gave 5,000 students, scholarship. You just, when it came to this 105, you're like, do they need education? Do they? I mean, think about it. Do they really need education? They need husbands. My constituents have so many challenges, economical and insecurity. You see the problem we are having here. This is written by Channels Newspaper. What kind of okay? But with the help of Almighty God, we have done some certain projects to improve the welfare of our teeming constituents. We have built schools, hospitals, and we have done our best in terms of students by giving more than 5,000 scholarships within 1 year. Interesting. Today we are witnessing the marriage of 100. Is this 5,000 scholarships? I just have one question. This 5,000 scholarship, why couldn't it include these 105 girls? You see, this is why I find it hard to believe this your 5,000. Why couldn't it include these 105 girls? Today we are witnessing the marriage of 105 girls, which almost all of them have either lost their father or mother. So by our tradition and our religious ethics, we know the responsibility when it comes to marriage issue that the parents had to undergo. So we intervene and provide items to support these couples. The married couples were provided with beds and mattresses by the lawmaker, in addition to 10.5 million paid as dowry for the 105 brides. Now, let me for many people who don't understand what will happen with this 10.5 million. The way they make it look like it's a box of. Remember again, this is 6,700 US dollars. But this is how it will be divided amongst these women. So we are talking 10.5 million. 10.5 million divided by 105. So 100,000. Each of them is getting 100,000 naira each of the women. So, which is what they explained further here. They said, Honorable so and so has provided the sum of 100,000 for each of the 105 brides. That is the dowry. Okay, he helped the men to pay the dowry of 100,000 for each of the women. So, men who cannot afford to pay 100,000 in this current Nigerian economy have been given wives for free with mattress and with mattress and foam. They have been supplied everything they need to go ahead and have a very prosperous home. Again, let us know what 100,000 is in US dollars. So you know what we are talking about. 100,000 naira. 100,000 naira to dollars. He gave them 63 US dollars each. 63. And gave half of that 63. That is approximately 31. Let's say 32 US dollars to the groom. And they are going to use this to start a business of their choice. 33 US dollars is what you use to start a family. 33 US dollars. And I'm being generous here with the 33. It's supposed to be 32. But I'm saying let us make it 33. Just even add one extra that they did not receive. 33 US dollars is what these people will use to start a family. These young couples will use this to start a family, and you can see that the future is bright in this current Nigerian economy, where the price of naira, the value of naira is just terrible. Everything is terrible right now. But for these people, this is perfect. This is exactly what they need. Let me tell you what will happen in this scenario. Let me tell you what will happen. You see those men? They will take that 50,000 naira or 33 US dollars, and if they will use it to come to the east. Some of them will use it to come to the east, so they'll move to cities in the north, right? Leave their wives in the village, of course. Use the money, come to the cities or come to the south, right? Then they get themselves. They use it to buy. Either they use it to really be able to buy them keke. Maybe you can use them to pay initial deposit for keke. Nigerians know what keke is. Don't worry, they know what I'm talking about. Keke is like a means of transportation. They use it to buy that. And then when they buy that, they use it to roam the streets and carry people. Or, in fact, I think that is too much. No. 33 cannot do that. 33 US dollars cannot do that. 50,000 naira cannot do that. No. They will use it to buy. There's this box that shoe repairers, shoe cobblers go. They'll use it to buy that box. Use it to buy the tools that you fill in that box. And then they start roaming the streets, hitting it from one place to another, looking for those who need to repair their shoe. That's what they will use that thing to do. Or they will use it to open one small kiosk where they'll be selling biscuits and sweets and stuff like that. That's what they, and that is probably where they will also sleep. Or the Nigerians know what I'm talking about. You know the option that is available to these men. These people cannot spend effectively for a family that they're about to start. If their wife gets pregnant, they cannot pay for antenatal. They cannot. But now they have brides, and as you can see, one of them said, what did that one said? I selected my wife based on my choice, and I will do justice to her because I chose her even though I don't have money. And the governor had to supply me with bed and mattress and even bed sheet on top. You know, there's something we say in Nigeria. Say they go find wife for you, still find bed where you go. They will get you married and also get the mattress you use to consummate. They will get everything for you, even the mattress you use to consummate the marriage. They will get everything for you. Everything will be provided for you. Osho free marriage. Oh, this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. And I'm speaking as a Nigerian for the most part. I hope you people understand me. Anyways, so that's what happened. That is just what happened. And as you can see, it is it is very it's very Tammy is saying something. Tammy Henson said, those men love flexing in Port Harcourt. We used to see them a lot, taking pictures in the Garrison roundabout like they've gone abroad. Exactly, exactly. That's because to them that is exposure. That's the height of achievement. To tell you the level of poverty we are talking about from this man, thinking of instead of bringing them out of that state of poverty and trying to make them stand, we'll keep giving them fish and you will give them wife, we'll give them mattress, we'll give them money. They will use the money for not the money they we are even giving them will not be able to supply them with anything. They don't even have skills to get jobs that will be able to help them provide for their families. Nothing. And then we wonder why states like Zamfara are at the bottom when it comes to human development index. When what matters most is getting a man to have a wife and getting the women married, right? That is what is most important. So this is the news article. Then there is the then there's the story of let me see if I can find it. Then there's the story of the planned mass wedding that's supposed to that would have taken place in March of, I think, March or May of this year. I'm not sure, but we'll look at that and we'll look at the visuals, because this one had, I was looking for like something other than an article for what happened in Zamfara, but I couldn't find it. I could only find the article. We're also going to read articles concerning the one that was supposed to take place in Niger State. We're going to read articles about that because the clip we're about to watch does not tell the whole story. We'll look at articles with regards to that. But right now we are going to watch this interesting clip. And as always, I have to ask you guys, I hope you guys can hear my audio, like the audio of the this that is playing.
This is Kano, the most populated state in northern Nigeria.
If you can, let me know. If you can,
research has shown that
if you can hear the video, just let me know. Say I can or something. If you can't, let me know so I can, set the
1
audio.
million children out of the 18 million people in Kano are not in school, and 60% of the 1 million children are girls. Did you know that each year more than 15 million girls are married up before the age of 18?
Okay.
That is
Yeah. Funny enough, I just realized that this is not the video I want to show. This is the wrong video. This is the wrong video. And this is the actual video I wanted to show. Okay. Many people can hear. That's good. So as you can see, this one that is about to happen. This is showing the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs promoting mothers' love and care for women and girls in Niger State. This is the ministry that opposed what the Niger State governor and also other leaders from Niger State we are planning to do. These are the men that we are the hopeful grooms, and these are the brides, the hopeful brides. As you can see, they are of age. Some of them look like they look like this. These are adults, of course. When you look at them, I'm looking at adults. As you can see, this is how adults look like. Yeah, they look 100% like adults, as you can clearly see. These are the traditional leaders. And look at the stuff that they have prepared. Things that they will give as gifts. These are traditional leaders.
Misinformation. The minister was informed. Well, let me just not say misinformation. He was actually informed, whether rightly or wrongly, that among the.
I'm being told that the sound is bad. Can you guys hear me? Now? Is it my sound or the sound from the video? My sound? Okay, it's better now. Okay.
100 girls that were to be married out, there were 50% of them were minor.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at these girls don't look like they are young. These are old women. These are, you can see, these are what you call spinsters, right? When you look at their faces, just look at this still image of these women, and you can see that we are looking at spinsters. These are very old women. I mean, none of them. I don't think any of these girls is 9 years old. I don't know. Do you think any of them? No. If they are not 9 years of age, then these are old women, obviously. Very old. Okay? So the minister was wrongly informed that children are about to get married. So, and from what we are seeing here, these are not children, okay? These are women, fully grown women, ready to push out a child. Alhamdulillah.
And for that reason, they were not ripe for marriages. And on hearing that, the minister herself felt so touched because she is the mother and she knows what it means to marry out girls that are not ripe for marriage. Don't forget that within her purview of her ministry, she is in charge of the women, the children, and gender. So sexual based violence and other harmful practices to children and women are issues that, of course, she needs to nail to the board as much as possible. So when that information got to her, she felt agitated and she felt surprised. And the best she could do at that time, because date has been fixed for this marriage as 24th of the month of May.
Okay, so the marriage was supposed to take place on the 24th of May. They have fixed a date, 24th of May. Over 100 women, most of whom, sorry, did I say women? Well, yeah, women. Over 100 women, of course, from what we've seen, these are 100 women. So over 100 women on the 24th of May, we are going to be married off to, hopeful grooms, right? And then the minister was like, nah, this is not supposed to happen. This is wrong. And now her representative is trying to clarify, oh, this is the information we got. And based on that information is why we are like, this is not going to happen. This marriage is not going to happen. We are going to go to court to see if we can get an injunction to stop it, stuff like that, which of course he has to explain. And, there is need when someone does such a thing to stop an Islamic process, there is need for you to give full explanation of why you would do such a thing, right? Why would you do such a thing? Stop a very religious activity. Why? So the rep is here to explain. It is what you need to really explain this type of things and make people understand why in the name of common sense, like David Wood will say, why in the name of common sense will you stop such wonderful thing? So
the best you could do at that point was to get a court injunction to stop the marriage first of all, and then go into investigation to know whether or not those informations were true. It was in the course of getting that injunction that the speaker also was misinformed that the minister had said that marriage must not hold. And of course, that was not the intention of the minister. Like I said in there, her intention was the right thing to be done. And of course, she also felt that if those women, even if they are ripe age for marriage, they need also to be well empowered. Because if you have listened to her since...
What do you mean by well empowered? Don't you see the bag of rice that you're about to give them? This will last them for a lifetime. This amount of food stuff will last them for a lifetime. Well, if you give one woman one bag, she's made for life. What are you talking about? If they are well empowered, this is all the empowerment they need. One bag of this thing, or whatever provision they have here, this will serve them for eternity, of course. And maybe you add on top 50,000 naira, $33, and boom, you're good. What are you talking about? You're good to go for life. They are settled. What are they talking about?
Her inception in that ministry, she has been very passionate about empowering the women, sustainable empowerment, not just empowering them. So most times when people train women, train them and then leave them, especially the development partners, what they do most times is that they come with millions of dollars and then train these women and leave them there without empowerment. And she felt that you train a woman without really giving her sustainable empowerment is like haven't done nothing. So she felt we need to have these women empowered properly so that they can be self-sustained. They can have themselves to be taken care of. And of course, take care of their children.
Well, what I find really interesting is that this man has to explain these things. Like, that he needs to come out and make a public statement to explain these things, so that the Muslim leaders will understand why this should not go on. This is why we will not allow you to marry children, because look, these children, look at the, first of all, many of them might be underage. We need to ascertain the age of the people you want to marry off. I'm very sure for these religious leaders, age is nothing but a number, obviously. And and they're just like, bring out the girls and bring out the women that look like they are ready to, that look like people who also want to marry. Bring anyone that look like that, and line them up and give them husbands. And then somebody has to come and explain, we really have to check what age are these women, or what age are these females, let's call them that. What age are these females? We need to be sure of what the age is. Somebody needs to sit down and explain it to these traditional religious leaders, that this is what you need to do before you give these women off, or you marry them off. And also, do you know that we also need to check if they are financially able, if they are financially able, and like they are able to sustain a family. We also need to check this, than to just push these women into marriage like that. We need to, make them look like, bring them to a level where they can take care of themselves and take care of children and take care of a home financially. We also need to consider that somebody needs to come in front of the camera with NTA and Channels News, pointing cameras pointing mics at him, and pointing also their cameras at him, so that he can explain to them the need to do the basics, the barest minimum before you give a child over in marriage. He needs to explain it. And he's explaining like somebody who is who a gun is the way he's like. And we also need to. It wasn't that the minister was. The minister actually was. It wasn't from a place of hate. It was from a place of love. That's how he's explaining. Like he's explaining. Like if he does not explain it well, he may lose his job. That is the. This is interesting.
Children unborn, and of course their spouses. That is the reason why we are here today. The minister trusts my judgment in the first place. That is why she sent me here. But what we have seen, except otherwise, from those that we have seen on ground, there are no minor. But we're also calling that let it be limited to the people we have seen here today. Let it be that those we have seen.
So the ones we saw are not minors. All right.
The women that are consigned. There are the women that are ought to be married out, because sometimes the minister, one thing she frowns at, which of course I have seen the Sarkin Sudan, that is the man of his word. He gave the minister his word that he's going to do everything possible to ensure that the right thing is done. And I'm very convinced that the women we have seen here today are the right women to be married out. And that is the conviction that I have. And that is.
So when you check those women, you saw that they were financially able. Oh, wonderful.
The information and message I'm taking back to her, that I've seen the women and there are no minor amazing. In fact, for all indications,
this one looks like she's 40. This one over here looks 40. This one looks 45. Well, this one over here looks like she's 52. This one looks like she's 94. These are old women, apparently. So some
of them are even what do you call it? Some of them are they widows from the other elderly ones we have seen. We have seen some of them are widows, and of course, ripe for marriage, and they have even been married before now, and of course, going into marriage for the second time. So I think we have this information to take back to her.
First of all, we have to thank God Almighty Allah that intervened into this.
This is the Sultan. Okay, the emir.
What
The
came
emir
to there is
of
there's a communication gap in between the countries, and it was Almighty Allah that made me to come in, where we find a solution to all these problems. And
the way you say and he's speaking like a traditional leader. They don't speak they speak like 60% of their voice is inside their throats. It's only 40% you get to hear. The remaining 60 is reserved. You understand? If you want to hear them very well, increase the volume of your mic. And he's like, Almighty Allah has put me here, and we are trying to bring solution to all these problems. All these problems of having children who are female children who are not married, and I'm here to provide the solution of getting them married. You think he's marrying off 90-year-olds who are praying to God. God, give me husband. It's like, yeah, I'm here to solve your problem. No, he's marrying people who look like they are 14.
To all the Nigerians, all the people that are involved into this matters, this we should calm down. The problem here is a communication gap, and we thank Almighty God. Here now in Santagora, we resolve things amicably. Because I promised the minister for women.
Anyway, we've had all the things that he has to say. We have, and he's not speaking like somebody who has life in his lungs. Even though he's a healthy young man, he still, wants me to strain my ear. Anyways, here is BBC report on this event. Orphan married off in Nigeria after mass wedding outcry. Okay, at least 100 young girls, including many orphans, have been married off in separate ceremonies following widespread outrage in Nigeria. Friday event was initially meant to be a mass wedding, but Women's Affairs Minister Uju Kennedy Ohanenye fired. I'm an evil person, so I wanted to get the name well. Uju Kennedy Ohanenye filed a court order to stop it, fearing that some girls were underage. She went back on the decision after reaching an agreement with the Speaker of the Niger State Assembly, Abdul Malik Saki Daji, who supported the mass wedding for the young women who have individual ceremonies. Okay, so it was no longer a mass wedding; it became an individual ceremony. Maybe because if you did mass wedding to garner so much attention, so let it be individual weddings. I did not intend to stop the marriage, but to ensure that the girls are of marriageable age and we are not being forced into it, Mrs. Kennedy said in a statement. The BBC understand that the requirement for a ceremony to proceed was that all the women involved had to be of legal age, which is 18 in Nigeria. Ms. Kennedy said she would award all the brides scholarship and a monthly stipend for the first 6 months of their marriages. This is what we call paying lip service to nothing. This is rubbish, and I will tell you why it is rubbish. Give those girls scholarship, they will not go to school. Once they get married, it's over. It's over. School, the end. The next year they will be pregnant. There is no. You're going to tell Hausa man to wait, so his bride. You're going to tell Hausa man to wait, so his bride will finish whatever scholarship program that Mrs. Kennedy or Hanenia has given to them. You think that's what is going to happen? This is let it be that we are trying to do something, announce something. That is the Nigerian government way. Announce something, make it look like you are doing something. One of the bride's parents, Malama Amina Marija, told BBC the mass wedding was arranged to celebrate the young women uniformly and give them a sense of togetherness. The mother of one of the brides said, like many of the families, they were given items towards their daughter's wedding and dowry payment, including a bed and sewing machine from politicians. Interesting. That's all they need. Most of the young women have lost relatives to attacks by armed bandits who regularly target civilians across northwest Niger State. So that's all the filling in the little details with regards to this wedding. So that is the trend. There's also one that happened 8 months ago, which involved like 10 women. 10. No, not 10. 1,000. Why am I removing the necessary zeros? 1,000. Over 1,000 women. We are married off in Kano State. And like I said, I'll show you guys my map so you guys will know where all this is happening. Give me a moment. Let me bring my map out. I want to bring a much better map than the one that I used before. If it is possible. Okay, I like this one. It's more colorful. Let's see. All right, so this is the map of Nigeria, and this is Niger State over here. Niger State. Zamfara. This is Zamfara. You can see that they are close. They are close by. Yeah. They are close. They are close by. And then this is Kano. Kano is separated. There's just Katsina and Kaduna in between. So this is Niger State, where over 100, they had to, instead of doing a mass wedding, they had to do it individually. Zamfara, where they did it in mass, and it was 105. And then Kano, where 8 months ago was 1,000. Over 1,000 people were married of mass wedding in Kano State. And many of these, let me also mention this, many of these weddings end up in divorce. Okay, many of them end up in divorce. That is also another interesting fact that, these people will fail to mention. It doesn't last, So yeah, that is what we are dealing with. Let's look at some super chats and then continue. This is from Jazz. She said the president was clearly sponsoring a pedo gang. He wanted to get on their not on our life list. Momo style operation, 100%. I don't know if I'm sure maybe I was saying something then that had to do with the president. But now I don't even know. I don't even know how this relates to what we are talking about. But I'm sure it does. Anyways, Jazz also said the 33,000 is going towards weapons. Terrorism is the only business. Not really. Okay. In their defense, not really. They're not going to use the $33 for weapons. Okay. The Nigerians who are on this live stream know what the $33 will be used for. It's not for weapons. They will use it to they know what they will use it for. They know what they will use it for. But whatever it is they will use it for will not be able to sustain a family. That's one thing with it. Whatever business they are going to start with it, let's call it business. This is not going to sustain a family. And this is from Georgie. Thank you for the 4.49. What is BGN? I don't even know. I see currencies that I don't know every day. And this is from Jazz, gifted 5 Nigerian Perspective membership. Thank you. And let's see. Let's see if we can get some questions from people in the chat. So they marry the underage orphans, use them, then send them back to the orphanage for a replacement. This is the religion of people. Yeah, man. Well, if they send them back to the orphanage, were they even picked from the orphanage? Some of these orphans were staying with their relatives. They make it look like these orphans were just on the streets. It's not like they are not with relatives or something. Many of them, when they say orphans, it may even mean just one parent is dead. That's the category. That's how they categorize orphans now. One of the parents may still be alive, but it's an orphan now. So that's kind of how they categorize these orphans. Yeah, they still have relatives that could take care of them. Some of them, not all of them, they still have relatives that could take care of them. It's not like they are on the street or in an orphanage. Then they just bring them together and marry them off. Ease the burden from the relative, I guess. So that's kind of what they mean by orphans. Now let's look at something else. And I don't know I don't know which of the videos I should start with. I have so many. Where do I begin? All right, let me start with this one.
DJ Isaac Muhammad.
Let's start with this one. And so we are going to be hearing from this. We are going to be hearing from many of the people who, of course, this is not those who are part of the arranged mass weddings, but these are people who their parents marry them off when they are young. And we are going to look at many of them. These are child brides in the north. And also, there's something I want to mention before we go further. Well, there's a part we'll get to in this live stream where we'll be talking about certain things that might be stomach churning. Okay, so just brace yourself. Okay, some of the things we'll be talking about will be uncomfortable for some people to watch. This is not children friendly. So brace yourself. So she said, my name is Khadija Mohammed. I'm from Kano municipality in Nigeria's Kano municipality in Nigeria's Kano state. And of course, I already showed you guys where Kano state is located. It's in the north where now? It's in the north. And she said, I was married off at age 13. I'm a member of the Fulani tribe. The Fulani tribe. Interesting tribe in Nigeria.
Shekara 13 duk da cewa mu Fulani ne kuma ya haɗu da gida.
And I come from a family of clerics. What they mean by family of clerics is my family has a lot of imams and sheikhs and what have you. So she's from a family of clerics, and she was married off at the age of 13. Okay, yeah, 13. You guys had it very well. 13. She was married off at 13.
Na malamai to shi sa gaskiya.
He said, even now in our family, a girl cannot be more than 14 without getting married off. He said, even now in our family, a girl cannot be more than 14 without getting married off.
Yanzu har gobe ma yarinya ta dade ba mata aure ba a gidan mu to ta kai shekara 14 amma ba a yin sa.
Yes, I can say it was an arranged marriage. So of course this is not I chose my husband. It was arranged.
Da haka. To maganar kuma da kika yi min na cewa akai haɗi ne, to zan iya cewa haɗi ne tunda a lokacin.
Because at that time I could not differentiate between love and hate. So at that time, at the age of 13, she was like, love was not what was on my mind. I was not thinking of falling in love, being in a relationship, stuff like that. Those are not the things that were on my mind. So this was clearly an arranged marriage, was an arranged affair. I had no say in it.
That
I don't know what love is. He said his family, that's the family of the man, didn't follow our marriage customs. They said they provided a dowry and wedding gifts. I had not begun menstruating when I married. I started in my husband's house. I had not begun menstruating when I married. I started in my husband's house. Let me read it again. I had not begun menstruating when I married. I started in my husband's house. So she started menstruating when she was in her husband's house.
Kika sani dai ban fara al'ada a lokacin ba, amma kuma sai ina gidan mijin na fara. To kuma dai da na zo haihuwa dai kin san yanayin da ya.
And she said, I suffered a lot during childbirth because I was young at the time, as it expected.
Shekaru baka girman ma da zaka san menene matsalolin ciki ba, amma wurin haihuwa dai an sha wahala.
I said we have 3 children, so she ended up giving birth to 3 children for this man. 3.
Ƴaƴanmu guda 3 ne.
And she was married to the man for 8 years. So she's divorced. The marriage ended. It was annulled. She's a divorcee right now. So this is just giving you an instance of how these things work. She was married at 13. She was married at 13. The man stayed with her till she was 21. And when she's now old, 21 is too old. Of course, she's now a grandmother. The marriage ended. Alhamdulillah.
Shekara 8. To bayan kin fito yanzu me kike yi? To alhamdulillah bayan na fito na.
First of all, I have to thank God. After my divorce, I had a lot of success.
Ta samu a rayuwa. Ka samu.
At first, I wondered how to go back to school.
Tun na shigo na fito ma ina yaya zan yi karatu.
Even though everyone in my family opposed it. So everyone in her imam family, a family of imams, they're like, no, why will you do that? Why will you go back to school? Why not get, in fact, anyway, she'll say they asked her to get married again, get into another marriage. That's what she's supposed to do. But now she's 21, so she can choose for herself. She's no longer 13. They wanted me to marry again. So then I sold all my properties and paid for my studies. So she studied. I studied mass communication because I really love journalism.
Mass communication.
As a mass communication graduate, Northern Nigeria version. Everybody in Nigeria know what I'm talking about. Let me not say too much. It's just mass communication, Northern Nigerian edition. You know what I mean? So this is from Voice of America. Voice of America. That's where this we are hearing this from. They are the ones who, got the story and are publishing that. Yeah. And that is what they do. You marry the girl at 13. When she's old at 21, you divorce her. She has 3 children for you. Her parents will tell her to go and get married again. And Muslims would love to tell us that the Islamic structure of marriage is the best. You can see it at work here. You can see how awesome it is. We have someone here. She said, and the man now will be looking for another child to marry. Of course, that is it. You get you marry one, you divorce, you get married again. Is how the world goes. Women are just what you marry and divorce. That is what Allah has created them for, obviously. Okay. Let's look at another story. Let's look at another story. And this is also from Voice of America. Another story. This involves two women. Okay.
Rahmatu and Najatu didn't know each other a few months ago, but their similar circumstances brought them together. Both girls are 14 years old.
So this instance, in this instance, we are dealing with two girls, and both of them we are 14. So they are, compared to the other lady, these are 1 year older, 14 years of age.
I was being forced into an arranged marriage. That's why I ran away. I don't love him and I don't know him.
So this lady, she was forced to get married at the age of 14, and she ran away.
I had never seen him before. A date was set, and the night before the wedding, I ran away.
Oh, she ran away a night before the wedding. So she didn't even eventually get married.
And Najatu are living in this children's home in Kaduna. They don't want to return to their villages further north. In villages like this, north of Kaduna, girls are typically married by their early teenage years, whether they want to be or not.
Had I had the choice, they should have given me a year to graduate from school.
This one is Aisha Ahmed. It's always interesting when these ladies bear names like Aisha. You're like, wow, reminds me of someone. And this one, she's 15. She's a 15-year-old bride.
Since this was what the parents wanted, I had no other choice.
Well,
of course.
And this is Sharu. This lady, she is 15. Shahura Mishbahu. I think I nailed it. I think I nailed that name. I did well. She's 15-year-old. She's a 15-year-old bride.
Of course you would be nervous or scared. You cry on your way to your new home because you're leaving your parents and you don't know where you will be taken.
So this 15-year-old, and she was explaining her experience, and she's like, when you are going to your husband's house, of course you'll be crying. Like these women believe that it is normal to be going to your husband's house with tears running down your cheek. They believe it is normal. Alhamdulillah.
I had no interest in it.
This one is old now. This is a grandmother, but she looks really young. So let's believe that she's 60. This is 16 years old, and this is Fadila Bello, 16-year-old wife.
At the time, I was just doing my own thing. Marriage was not on my mind until when God wished it was time.
14-year-old.
So this lady is saying that it was never on her mind, but God, aka her parents, said it was time, and she had to get married.
Old Basira Bello is soon to be married to Salihu, who is 20 years her senior.
Well, let us get that fact again. I want to maybe
God wished it was time.
14-year-old Basira Bello.
This is 14-year-old Basira, like they say in Lagos. Basira. What do people say? Basira. Basira Bello, 14-year-old,
is soon to be married to Salihu.
And this is the man that is about to marry Basira,
who is 20 years her senior.
So she's 14 and Basira is 34.
She is excited at the prospect.
Is she? Voice of America, is she excited? The lady you showed, this is the look of excitement. This is the look of excitement.
Is soon to be married to Salihu, who is 20 years her senior. She is excited at the prospect. Her father expects her to follow Nigerian customs.
No. This is the part I don't like. This is the part I don't like. When they say Nigerian customs. No. This is don't say that. This is not a Nigerian. This is not a Nigerian custom. Say it the way. This is not a Nigerian custom. It's not the whole of this country does not practice this thing. It's not a Nigerian custom. Okay? They are the ones that Allah has blessed with such remarkable custom. It is not the whole of the country. You separate Paul from Barnabas. You separate them. They are not the same. There's no such, but there is no such thing as a, people should stop saying it. No such thing as a Nigerian custom. If you want to talk about customs, say Fulani custom, Hausa custom. Be specific. Let us know what custom you are talking about. We need to know what custom exactly you are referring to, where it is, which part of the country it is coming from. I just saw that Ainura is with us. He said, made it before you got off the stream. I'm happy that you are here. I am. I'm happy that you are here.
She has been told everything she should know because she is useless if she disobeys her husband.
You hear that? She's useless if she disobeys her husband. That's what her father has inculcated into her. Go obey your husband in all things, and if you don't obey him, you're useless.
At the federal level, Nigeria has outlawed child marriage. The Child Rights Act of 2003 mandates that both parties be at least 18 years old before marrying, but it's left for states to ratify the act, and most states in the North have not. This lawyer says a girl's readiness for marriage.
Now, there's something that the reporter said, and I need to explain it so that Nigerians, people who are not Nigerian, even some Nigerians may not even understand this, so they too should listen. So, yes, at the federal level, we have a law called the Child Rights Act. Right? The Child Rights Act, one of the things that is provided in the Child Rights Act is that a child should not get married, or the legal age for a child to get married is 18. And I believe that act criminalizes marriage under the age of 18. But here is the problem with the Child Rights Act of Nigeria, is that marriage is not in the executive list. Okay, when it comes to legislations, there are executive list issues that are on the executive list, issues that are on the concurrent list, and issues that are on the, I've forgotten the name of the third one. So marriage is not on the executive list. So it is not for the federal government to make laws regarding marriage. It is for state governors. However, when they make those laws, when they make laws at the federal level, they expect that certain states or states who want to abide by those laws will domesticate it, right? Currently in Nigeria, the Child Rights Act have been domesticated in 24 states. Only 24 states in Nigeria. Nigeria has 36 states. Only 24 states in Nigeria have domesticated the Child Rights Act. Now, I want you to do the maths. 24 minus 36 minus 24. Or is it 24 minus 36? Anyhow it is being said, you know how it is done. Do the maths. The answer you get, keep that in your mind and hear this other important fact. In Nigeria, we have 12 Islamic states, which is 12 states that practice Sharia law. So when you do that maths, what do you think? Which state do you think is the state that has not domesticated the Child Rights Act of Nigeria? Let me know what it is. Like, I want to see your answer in the comments. I want to read the answer in the comments while we are listening to this. Let me repeat what I just said. In Nigeria, there's a Child Rights Act and it's a federal legislation, but it's not within the jurisdiction of the federal government to make such laws. It is for state governments, but the federal government may make such law and then expect states, various state law legislative bodies like lawmakers in various state House of Assemblies or House of Representatives to domesticate the law. In Nigeria, 24 states have domesticated the Child Rights Act of Nigeria. 24 states have. So now I want you to take minus 24 from 36. And then also bear in mind that 12 states in Nigeria, 12 are Islamic states, which means they practice Sharia law. Sharia law is the law of the land in 12 states in Nigeria. Now I want you to tell me, which state do you think are the states that are yet to domesticate the Child Rights Act of Nigeria? Pagan Games said, I will take a guess. The Islamic ones. Well, ratify. Maybe you can say ratify. Domesticate. You can say that. Ratify, domesticate. Anyone you want to use. This is from Levi's wife. He said 36 minus 24 is equals 12. Is it? We are learning today. Islamic unravel. What is with you and the Pauline scriptures? What does that have to do with child marriage? Islamic unravel. What does the Pauline scriptures, like you call it, what do they have to do with child marriage? I said, I will never allow a woman to have authority over men. It is from one of the police scriptures. I guess it was, what is police scriptures? Islam unravel. What is police scriptures? Which guys, if you're a Christian, please, I'm hearing things I learn from the comments every day. Okay, Pauline. Okay, Pauline scriptures. I guess it was to Timothy. What does not allowing women to have authority over men have to do with child marriage? That's just all I want to know, because all these side shows that people do in the comments, I will begin to find certain people. People will be fined. If you don't pay the fine, I will just block you. What does that have to do with child marriage? Islam unravel. Yeah, I'm still waiting for you to explain. What does this thing you just mentioned now about women not having authority over men have to do with child marriage? Islam unravel does not have any answer. Islam unravel, answer us quickly. We are waiting for your answer. You are the reason why we are unable to move forward with what we are about to say. And you are the reason why many people in the comments are not able to answer, to solve the riddle that I posed to them. Islam unravel say, I'm talking to another guy in the comment. Oh yeah, stop talking to the guy. We don't want to hear your side talk again. I am the head prefect of this live chat. And as the head prefect, I don't want to hear your side talk again. I don't want to look in the comments to see answer to a question that I asked, and then see you talk about something that is completely unrelated. Help me ask you what is police scripture. So, anyways, so yeah, if you do the math, you realize that 30. Anyway, do the math. Let's continue with the video. Guys, do the math that I was talking about and tell me your answer in the comments. I will soon look at it now to know what people are saying in the comments. It's a very good comment. Islam or Arabu, your parents wanted a matter but got a stream, but that's a good joke. Anyways, so let's get back to this video.
Marriage cannot be determined by her age.
A girl of 13 years old, if she is not physically okay.
I want you guys to listen carefully to what this Muslim lawyer, somebody from the Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, listen to what he has to say. I want you guys to pay close attention to what he has to say.
Girl of 13 years old, if she is not physically okay, if she's physically challenged, maybe she doesn't have a sound mind, she could not comprehend, she could not differentiate between the right and the wrong, she's not fit for the marriage.
So according to this Muslim lawyer, he said, if a 13-year-old is not physically ready and is not of sound mind, she is not fit for marriage. Keep that in mind. I want to unravel, or Islam unravel, to also keep that in mind too. Okay? He said, if a 13-year-old is not physically fit and mentally fit, then the person is not ready for marriage. A 13-year-old. That's what he said. But there's a but coming.
She's not right for marriage.
Okay?
A girl of 9 years, if she's sound, she's physically okay, she can go in.
Did you hear? He said a child of 9 years, a child of 13 years may not be fit. But if a child of 9, alhamdulillah, if a child of 9 is physically and mentally fit, she can go in. She can go in, like they are granting her access into a building. She can go in. She can go in. A child of 9 can be. In Islam, there is a possibility. They are open to the possibility. In Islam, they are so open to the possibility that a child of 9 can be physically and mentally ready for marriage. And why is that? Why are they open to that possibility? Here's why.
Because in Islam, there is no barrier to that.
Because in Islam, there is no barrier to that. What is he saying? In Islam, there is no age restriction to marriage. By Islam, he means Sharia law. That's the aspect of Islam. By Sharia law has no limitation, no barrier, no age barrier to getting married.
As for Rahmatu and Najatu, they want to stay in Kaduna to go to school. They say they hope their families will eventually forgive.
Here's something from somebody that goes by. Today, I'm having time for the comments. I usually don't have time for comments, but let me give you my attention. So, Frank, are you going to discuss the Christians in America that are marrying children as well? I am going to discuss the Christians that are getting married to the Christians, like you put them in quotation marks, that are getting married to children as well in America. If you can show me where what they are doing has anything to do with the scriptures, if what they are doing is they are doing it based on what the Bible says, if they are saying we are getting married to children because the Bible says so, and we can look at that scripture and see that it is not a twisted interpretation of that scripture. And since you are bringing up this, and I've brought up the scripture to show you why I'm not talking about somebody, pedophiles who claim to be Christians, who are going out there performing act of pedophilia, and you said they are marrying children. Since you brought that up, and I want to show you that why Islam is unique in this regard, because people will always say there are always pedophiles in every religion. Every religion have people who have pedophilic tendencies. True, but this is where Islam is unique. Islam okays it. In Islam, it is okay. It is permissible. And why is it permissible? Well, first we have the marriage of the great prophet himself. Okay, and I want to bring out the hadith. Let me just open sunan.com. Let me open sunan.com and bring the hadith for you. All right. And this is from Aisha herself, Sunan an-Nasai, and it is graded Sahih. In case those are wondering, is this reliable? Is this unreliable? It is reliable. It is let me reduce it so people can see that it is indeed Sahih. And this is a Sahih hadith. What does it say? Let's go back. What does it say? Aisha said, the messenger of Allah married me when I was 9, and I lived with him for 9 years. Sorry, I put in the wrong number. 6 married. The messenger of Allah married me when I was 6. This is Sunan an-Nasai, and it is graded Hassan. Okay, this one is graded good. Let's not read the one that is graded Hassan. Let's look for the ones that are graded Sahih. Okay, and this is another one that is graded Sahih. Sunan an-Nasai. It was narrated from Aisha that the messenger of Allah married her when she was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with her when she was 9. The messenger of Allah married me when I was 6 and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9, and I used to play with dolls. This is Sahih al-Bukhari. Sahih is in the name. Sahih al-Bukhari. The messenger of Allah married me when I was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage the messenger of Allah married her when she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage with her, his marriage when she was 9 years old, and then she remained with him for 9 years. The prophet wrote the marriage contract with Aisha while she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage with her while she was 9 years old, and she remained with him for 9 years. Narrated Aisha that the prophet married her when she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. Khadija died 3 years before the prophet departed to Medina. He stayed for 2 years or so, and then he married Aisha when she was a girl of 6 years old. Not a woman, a girl of 6 years old, and he consummated the marriage when she was 9 years old. Sunan Abu Dawood, Greatest Sahih, the Messenger of Allah, as source, married me when I was 7 years old. Narrated Suleiman, the narrator Suleiman said a 6 years, and he had intercourse with me when I was 9 years old. In case you don't understand what consummate means, intercourse, sexual intercourse, sexually penetrated her when she was 9 years old. Sahih Muslim, Allah's apostle, may peace be upon him, married me when I was 6 years old, and I was admitted to his house when I was 9 years old. So there's another Sahih Muslim narration. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, reported that Allah's messenger, may peace be upon him, married her when she was 6 years old, and he, the Holy Prophet, took her to his house when she was 9. And when he, the Holy Prophet, died, she was 18 years old. Ibn Abbas narrated, the Prophet returned his... okay, this has nothing to do with Aisha. And as you can see, there are so many hadiths talking about this. Why is it important to bring this up? Because of what is written in the Quran itself. What is written in the Quran says that, the perfect example for all of mankind is who? It's Muhammad. And I'll bring the scripture just in case we have people, who are doubting the word of Almighty Allah himself. Give me a second, let me bring it. We saw this yesterday, and here it is again today. This is Surah 33:21, Sahih International. What does it say? It says, there has certainly been to you in the Messenger of Allah an excellent pattern for those whose hope is in Allah and the last day, and who remembers Allah often. So what does this scripture say? Muhammad is the perfect example for those who, these people, the description here are for Muslims. So the best way to put it, if you want to shorten this verse, you say, there has certainly been for you in the Messenger of Allah an excellent pattern for Muslims. So who is the excellent pattern for Muslims? Muhammad. So from the example that Muhammad demonstrated, he married a child when she was 6 and consummated the marriage with her when she was 9. But it's not just Muhammad. I mean, it's not just Surah 33 verse 21 that gives us the impression that Muslims are supposed to follow give me a second. There's something I want to bring out. Just let me get the Quran verse so I can bring it out. We have Surah 65 verse 4. Surah 65 verse 4. Okay, and this is the scripture that has to provides. I'm making people understand why this is a problem in Islam, why child marriage is a problem in Islam. In case people don't, I've made a video about this, I've made a short video about this, but I'm going to recap again so people will understand. Okay, Surah 65 verse 4. There's something in Islam known as the Ida period, the waiting period. Okay, when somebody has been divorced, there's a waiting period before they can be remarried. Okay, and ab initio in Surah Al-Baqarah, there was a provision in Surah Al-Baqarah verse. Let me get the verse before Muslims will say, you see, he's wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Surah Al-Baqarah verse 234. Surah Al-Baqarah verse 234 provides, either period for every other normal women who are just like of normal marriageable age. 3 months is is it 3 months or 3 menstrual cycles? I'm not even sure. I think it's 3 months. No, I think it's 3 menstrual cycles. Sorry, that's what is provided in Surah chapter 2 verse 234. That is for women who are like every other normal woman. And then there was the Surah 65 verse 4, and he said, and for those who no longer expect menstruation among your women, if you doubt, then their period is 3 months. And also for those who have not menstruated, and for those who are pregnant, their term is until they give birth. And whoever fears Allah, he will make for him of his matter ease. This is the wonderful grammatical, whatever of the Quran. But the point here is that for those who no longer expect menstruation among your women, if you doubt, then their period is 3 months. And also, this 3 months also applies to women who have not menstruated. Now, this is Sahih International saying not menstruated, but if you read other English translation, it will say not yet menstruated. And I think that's the same meaning you get here. And this is talking about prepubescent girls. How do I know it is talking about prepubescent girls? Okay, we are going to look at what now? Ibn Kathir commentary on this. I'm giving people a quick rundown. He said, and for those who are pregnant, their either is until they lay their burden. Okay, that is what is in Surah 65 verse 4. There's also a hadith from Subai, whoever, to Sahih, through various chains of narration. Her husband, this person, died while she was pregnant, and she gave birth only a few nights after his death. When he finished, blah 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 blah. This is talking about Surah 65 is called what now? What is Surah 65 called? Let me know what it is called, sir. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. Surah 65 is called Surah Al. Okay. Al-Talat. On Al-Talak. Verse 4. All right. So this is Ibn Kathir's commentary on this verse. Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period for women in menopause and the ones whose menstruation has stopped due to her old age. Her either is 3 months instead of 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah, that is Surah 2 verse 228. The same for, okay, not 234, but 228. My bad, sorry. The the surah for women who menstruate, that is like every other woman, is in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 228, not 234. 228. The same is for young women who have not reached the years of menstruation. This is what is important to note here. The same is for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their either is 3 months like those in menopause. This is the meaning of his saying, and for those who have no causes. As for his so let us read this again. Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the women in menopause, and this is and that is the ones whose menstruation has stopped due to her old age. Her either is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycle for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah, that is Surah 2 verse 228. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their either is 3 months like those in menopause. This is the meaning of his saying, and for those who have no causes. This is the meaning of his saying, and for those who have no causes. What is this telling us? It's telling us that based on Surah 65 verse 4, a prepubescent girl can be married, divorced, you wait 3 months and remarry her. This is why child marriage is not, and I'm not talking child marriage for people who have started menstruating. No, women who have not yet menstruated, girls rather, who have not yet menstruated. 9, like that Imam said, according to Islamic law. 9 people who have not yet, even less than 9, 5, 4. In fact, here is a video of one of our favorite Muslim apologists, giving us, telling us without mixing words, like what he means and what he believes. This
mentioned the period comes at the end of puberty. Are you saying someone can marry and have sex with someone prior to getting their period?
Let us watch this. This is Daniel Hakikachu explaining his understanding of marriage in Islam and what the Quran prescribes and why it is lawful and why it is, in fact, justifying what we just read and what we just saw from both the Quran and from the Hadiths. This is Daniel Hakikachu justifies that. It will not just be that I'm the only one saying it, or is that Imam from Nigeria who is, or that Muslim lawyer from Nigeria who is saying it. You can see it from even someone from the abroad, like Nigerians to say, from the OSA. Okay?
Mentioned the period comes at the end of puberty. Are you saying someone can marry and have sex with someone prior to getting their period?
So according to Islamic law, when the body is fully formed because of puberty, the period comes at Tanner stage 4, which is the end of puberty. So yes, when there are signs of physical maturity, then it becomes permissible for the husband in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him, who married 6.
Before the age of menarche, what I'm trying to get.
Before the period.
Okay. I thought
so here is Daniel Hakika to say, yeah, it is okay to marry in Islam. It is okay to marry a child before that child, starts menstruating. It's not me saying it. We've seen it in the Quran. We've seen it in what Muhammad did. We are seeing it right now from this esteemed, renowned Islamic speaker and debater, Daniel Hakikachu. It is not me. And if we had time, I would have taken you through various school of Sharia law just so you can see their ruling on this matter. It is not me saying this thing. It is a settled Islamic, like. Well, let's listen.
Your argument originally was this is about maximizing fertility. That's why we need to have child marriages. How can you maximize fertility before a girl is ovulating and menstruating if it's years before that? Why? So you're telling me that what I'm trying to get at and trying to ask is like, so you can have sex, marry and have sex with a girl years before she has her period. If that's the case, how is this about maximizing fertility and not about just sadistic pleasure?
Well, I didn't make a.
So according to the question that this is, of course, this is a long debate, but this is just 4 minutes of that long debate. And in the debate, according to IP Inspiring Philosophy is saying, look, you made in your statement, you said what justifies this marriage in Islam is that, when people get married early, then you can maximize fertility. You can, women who get married, according to, don't you hear him say that women who get married early can have plenty of children. If they don't get married early, they only have 1 or 2. But if they get married at the age of 5 or 6 or 7, they can have 14, as Allah intended. You understand? He will say, just let me know. Let me be the one to put words into his mouth. You hear it from the horse's mouth.
Argument about maximizing fertility, but I'll still give you the courtesy of addressing your question. What evolutionary biologists suggest, like David Buss, is that this kind of attraction and wanting to, because they've done studies where they show body outlines without ages of females, and they show a body outline like a silhouette of a female at age 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and they ask adult men, which body type do you find most attractive? The men don't know what the ages are, they just see the silhouette. And when you tally all of the responses, the most popular or the most attractive silhouette body shape is of a 14-year-old.
Yes.
So
yes, according to Daniel Hakikachu and the study he's citing, let's assume that study is real, because if you know him historically, he's not like I said, know him historically. You know that he's good at just pulling studies out and saying things that the studies he's citing does not say. But he's saying based on silhouette, the silhouette of a girl tells you everything you need to know about the girl biologically. So anybody who, or even physically, her physical appearance, you know all about it through her silhouette. And any person who thinks the silhouette of a 14-year-old is attractive is synonymously saying that a 14-year-old is attractive. Silhouette is what you use to come to the conclusion that human beings, men, are attracted to 14-year-olds on average, based on silhouette. This is very renowned study. This is the kind of study that you cite to let you know that, no, this is a very natural thing for men to be marrying children.
That is explained evolutionarily. I don't believe in evolution. I know that you do, but they explain it that this is an adaptation, because if you can start fertilizing a female as soon as she's showing signs of an imminent fertility, the period, menarche, then that will maximize, because you secured the female right at the beginning, the start of when she will potentially.
But you still have sex before you start maximizing fertility, right?
When the body is physically mature, according to Islamic law.
Do you know what precocious puberty is?
Yes, I do.
So according to what he just said something that I said earlier, that when you secure them once they are ready to to have children, once they start menstruating, you secure them, and you're able to maximize their childbearing potential, right? By marrying them start having sex with them as early as they start seeing signs of, or start having their menstrual cycle. Once they start having that, you go ahead and you marry them, and that way you're able to maximize fertility, right? We're going to look at some of the stories some of the stories of these women, and you see how them marrying early did not maximize fertility in any way. There are stories we are going to look at of women who the children they gave birth to after they went into a marriage early died, and because of the health complication that resulted afterwards, they were unable to have more children.
Okay, what is it?
It means starting puberty unusually early, like
Can
beyond
you have,
averages.
Is there anything in Islam that prevents you from a man marrying a 5-year-old that started precocious puberty?
No, marriage can happen. You can arrange a marriage even as an infant, but that doesn't mean that sex is allowed.
Okay, could a man have a marriage to a 5-year-old consummated if she started precocious puberty?
If she starts showing signs of physical maturity, then yes, that's permissible. As I stated, that's permissible.
5 years old, guys. 5 years. 5 years old. 5.
4.
If there are signs
3.
of. So this.
You guys already know how this ends.
Is something that becomes biologically impossible, because precocious
I have
puberty, there are no.
It goes as early as 11 months.
Right. Well, that's something that the parents would not. The thing about Islamic marriage is that parents are involved at these ages, and when you look at the marriage,
like the parents who,
peace be upon him, to Aisha, her parents.
Do you, from what he's saying, do you see how what is provided in Islam breeds child marriage? Like the parents are the ones who get to decide for a young child who they will get married to, even arrange for the marriage of the child at any age. It doesn't matter. Maybe you may not consummate the marriage immediately, but you can arrange it. And once the child starts showing signs of maturity, whatever you determine those signs of maturity to be, you can go in. Like that Muslim lawyer says, she can go in, right? Or the man can go in. Whoever is going in, somebody can go in. This is what Islam. This is what the religion creates. There's something about create. Yes, you say, okay, people who are doing that. There are Muslims who are not attracted to children. I believe there are a good number of them. I'm not saying all of them are pedophiles, but like I always say, there's nothing stopping the one who is a pedophile from carrying out his pedophilic desires. Nothing, absolutely nothing. There is nothing in Sharia law that stops it. What the best a Muslim preacher or a Muslim apologist will do is to try and justify it as this person is doing. offer weak, ridiculous justification and be like, oh no, you have to consider this evolutionary biology, whatever science discovery, stuff that just do not even apply in any way. That's just butchering studies at the end of the day. And also ignoring the reality of these marriages that we can observe with our own eyes without looking at studies, which is what we are going to do. We are going to continue with. Anyway, let's look at another story.
Asma Muhammadu was 12 years old when she got married. At 15.
Now we are looking at the story of somebody who got married at the age of 12. Despite how young this age is, you should realize that this is 3 years older than Aisha when she got married to the Prophet, who was over 50.
She had her first pregnancy.
When it was time to go into labor, I had trouble, so they had to take me to the hospital. On the 4th day, I gave birth, and my baby wasn't alive.
So you can see this is somebody who married young, like Daniel Hakikachu said. The parents and the husband decided to maximize. They decided to maximize, right? They decided to maximize her childbearing potentials, right? She was married at the age of 12. She became pregnant at the age of 14 or so.
Her difficult labor caused a tear between her birth canal and bladder.
And then she had VVF. As a result of that, she had VVF. And when these women get that, they start leaking urine and even fecal matter. That's what they start leaking out of their you know where it leaks out from. That is the kind of condition that these ladies have, because of it is difficult for them to. These people are young, and because of the way their body is shaped, they cannot, easily push out. Of course, pushing out a child is not easy, but compared to imagine now a child whose hip have not fully widened, trying to push out a child, and then you have tear, and that is what happened to this lady. This lady that, according to the wisdom of Allah that he manifested in the Quran, this is how you maximize a woman's potential. Of course, this is how you empower her as well.
I noticed the leakage after I was discharged.
Asma, who is now 27 years old, can no longer hold her urine.
She can no longer hold her urine. Whenever
her mother has the same condition. It's called an obstetric fistula. Around 500,000 women in Nigeria develop obstetric fistulas. 22-year-old Fadimatu Abubakar has had it for 4 years.
This is 22-year-old and she has had it for 4 years. That means when she was trying to deliver her first child, I don't know child number what it was that she was trying to deliver. 22 minus 4, that is she was 18 and she was still young.
And left her. Most of the women here are divorced and live as social outcasts.
And after they get that, what happened? The man divorces them. The man that was trying to maximize her potential, when he realizes that, oh, this lady now has a medical condition, it's like, I cannot continue with it. He divorces her. Because, of course, he has that right to do so under the perfect law of Allah, known as Sharia law. This is Sharia utopia that we are analyzing right now. This is the reality of it. The reality of whatever you just had Daniel Hakikachu try to eloquently explain to us and show us the beatitude therein. This is the manifestation.
Dr. Bello Lawal says communities do not realize that their cultural practices of traditional surgeries are also causing.
Yeah, of course. According to Lawal, it is. This is where people just start getting me annoyed. This is where some of these people they interview in some of these documentaries and reports start getting me annoyed. It is traditional surgical practices that made this the first girl we just saw. That's what made her have VVF at the age of 15. It was because of local surgical practices. Not the fact that she had a child at that age and she was too young. No, it was surgical practices.
To get fistulas.
The community is also not fully aware of the causes of VVF. There are a lot of misunderstanding, misconception. We know basically VVF is caused by prolonged obstructed labor and some traditional practices in this part of the world.
Blame it on custom.
The Yankangishiri that is done by the
blame it on some custom. Yeah, blame it on custom. Let's not blame it on the fact that the child got married. No, he's not. You will listen to him and try. He will not mention the fact that these children are young. Bello, of course, will not mention that. Maybe there's something about the fact that these children are young.
Lead to VVF.
Ilyasu Ningi is a traditional barber. On his female patients, he performs vaginal surgeries known as gishiri in the Hausa language. These are the tools that he uses to remove what he says are obstructions in the woman's body.
But there's something I'm seeing in the comments and I don't understand. This is from Ryan Paris. And he said, I'm still waiting for one Quran or two Sunan references that say women need to pass the flower of her age for plowability. Any Muslim on that one? Well, let me put this question out there. So that Muslims, so people like, what's his name? Satellite Khan, the dentist, and what's the name of the other guy who was reminding us about police scriptures? The police scriptures guy and Satellite Khan. If you can stop talking about my teeth for 1 second, maybe you can answer Ryan Paris. He's asking you a very important question.
He says he knows that his work can cause a fistula, but that he does the best he can to prevent it. There's a backlog of nearly 200,000 women across Nigeria waiting for fistula repair surgeries, and only about a dozen doctors to handle the complex cases. Back in her village, Asmao has accepted her fate.
I didn't.
And here we have a woman whose fertility can no longer be maximized because no man wants to come close to her because of what. Oh God.
Feel good at all, but it was destined by God to happen that way.
With more than 20,000 new cases of fistulas, health workers, activists, and government officials say Nigeria has a long way to go to reduce the burden the abnormality causes. Chika Odua for VOA News, Sokoto, Nigeria.
This is from Sokoto. Always in the north. Always in the north. Let's look at another one.
Mrs. Zuwaira Ili. Mrs. Zuwaira Ilya, a 46-year-old woman who has lived with obstetric fistula for 30 years, is still keeping hope alive in spite of her bleak situation.
And of course, we have, in response to this question that I put here is a remarkable answer from Satellite Khan. A very remarkable answer. You guys will not believe this one is going to, this is him owning me. Once you see his reply, you'll be like, Frank, you've been owned, you've been destroyed. This is Satellite Khan destroying me right now. I'm about to get destroyed. If I want to read this, it's even likely that I may even end this stream because I've been humiliated. Are you ready? This is his, look at the question. I am still waiting for one Quran or two Sunnah reference that says girls need to pass the flower of her age for plowability. Any Muslim on that one? And this is what Satellite Khan has to say. Nigerian, can you make videos about Christian priests abusing young boys? This is the perfect response. With this response now, I have been humiliated. When you talk about Christian priests, boom, case closed, right? You've demolished the kufa. You've bamboozled, mesmerized, I've used demolished, destroyed. As in, what other word can I use? That's what has been done to me right now. I've been destroyed. Or to use the word of Mohammed Hijab, I've been intellectually molested. That is it there. That is the perfect response. That is the sunan and the hadith that was requested right there. I've been destroyed. Oh, I've been no. I can't even speak again. I'm lost for words. I've been destroyed.
Zuwaira of Markafi village in Markafi local government area of Kaduna State told the news agency of Nigeria she became pregnant at 16 shortly after she got married. But
he's somebody who got pregnant at the age of 16, shortly after getting married. And even at 16, I want you to understand, even at 16, these women still have to deal with this. Even at 16.
Experience prolonged labor during childbirth.
Amin aure da 16. Ina ɗakin mijina na samu ciki.
I was married off when I was 16 and immediately became pregnant. When it was time to deliver the baby, I went into labor for 3 days. They took me to the hospital and my vagina was increased to enable the baby to come out, and that was how I developed VVF and IVF. I was taken to a hospital in Kano.
She developed VVF and IVF.
And underwent surgery 3 times without success.
She underwent surgery 3 times and both 3 surgeries were unsuccessful. We were unable to stop, repair the condition.
From there, I was taken to another hospital in Jos Plateau State, but instead of performing a surgery, the doctor referred me to the VVF unit in Zaria, Kaduna State. In Zaria, I was operated on twice, but I was still leaking urine and feces. Notwithstanding, I'm still hopeful, maybe, just maybe, if I undergo another surgery, I will be healed.
And as you can see, this woman has been living with this condition for a very long time. This is how you maximize fertility. This is how you can see how they are maximizing. Now she has 40 children, of course. 40. For every fecal matter is 1 child. Right? I'm not even saying this to make fun of this woman, because what she's going through is through no fault of her own. It is the fault of her parents, the fault of the man, the fault of the society, the fault of Islam, and the fault of idiots in the West, who, instead of recognizing this as a problem, are opening their useless mouths to tell us that according to evolutionary biology. Will you keep quiet? What? Tell this woman about this woman right now that yes, these women we've seen so far. Tell them about evolutionary biology.
My life is a life of agony because I was with my mother here in the hospital when she became ill and died 4 days after my second surgery. I went to her burial with a pipe in my body.
Even when she went to this lady has suffered for a very long time. She has really, really suffered for a very, very long time.
I was waiting for another surgery when I received a message that my father was ill. I left the hospital to look after him. He also died. While I was in Kano, my husband divorced me because of my condition, and I returned to my parents.
And you can see the pattern, the usual pattern. She develops the condition thanks to the man, and the man does what? Divorce her afterwards, because of course there is no use for this woman again. The woman is abandoned. Now she has both parents are gone. Society has abandoned her.
House. We have seen how so many survivors were operated and were healed, went back home, became pregnant, and then returned to the hospital to deliver their babies through a cesarean section. This is why we are still hopeful that all is not lost and resolved to stay and get well, so that maybe God will also give us a child.
29-year-old Mrs. Safia Musa said she got.
And that's her story, guys. That's her story. I don't even know what else to add to this. This is her story. This is what women are going through in the North. I think they said over 12,000 women every year get this case. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm exaggerating too much, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But a huge number of women every year develop this issue in Nigeria.
Married at the age of 20. Musa, a VVF survivor and an indigene of Kaduna State.
When
I developed the condition, my husband stood by me. My co-wife, however, refused to eat my food. Even her children rejected my food. Only my husband eats my food in the house.
Safia's mother, Mrs. Asmao Musa, said after referrals to several.
And because of the poor condition that many of these women grew up on, because one thing you need to understand about many of the women who grew up in the North is for you to be able to go through puberty early and not have it delayed, you need to be somebody who is well taken care of, and you need to have good nutrition and stuff like that. And when these things are not available, it reduces or slows the development of an individual, even the sexual development, the reproductive development. That's why we are even having a case of somebody who is 20. This lady here is 20 and she still developed this. Now imagine if somebody of 20 in the North. Now you know the condition that these women are living under. And if despite the fact of that condition, you still have people who are as young as 13, 12 are still getting married. I want you to understand this and understand this very well.
Hospitals without success, she lost the baby after surgery due to prolonged labor. Asmao said 2 days later, she noticed her daughter's belly was getting bigger and she was not urinating.
Since he touched something, I suspected it could be a cotton wool that the doctor probably put there and removed. That was when the urine began to leak. We didn't know about the disease before, and when we raise her up, urine will begin to leak. And if she's lying down on the bed, you will see urine everywhere. I complained to the doctor, and he said there is a solution, but it will require 6 injections per day at 2,000 naira each. 2 days after the injections, there was still no improvement, so I took her home. I will cry, she will cry, and her siblings also cry because we have never seen this kind of ailment before. Then our husband heard of the VVF unit and brought us to the facility. She later underwent the surgery, got better, returned to her husband, and was blessed with another pregnancy. We returned to the unit for a...
Hopefully this one ended well. I'm so happy that her story did not end up like that of other women. She was able to get help. She was able to go through surgery, and her surgery was successful, and she was even able to have a child again, luckily. You know, and maybe part of that is because she developed hers when she was 20. Because when we see people whose issue kind of came up earlier, they say, we went to surgery, went to another surgery, and it was not successful, went to another surgery, and it was not successful. And these are stories upon stories of this, and it is enough to make you understand that child marriage is terrible. It's terrible.
Then went back to Buruku, where she continued with antenatal care. When it was time to deliver, she returned to the facility where she was delivered of a baby boy. We are grateful. We are grateful. May God uplift the officials.
The VVF unit said Safia's remarkable fistula repair and the gift of a baby gave hope to many survivors.
Actually, they don't find it easy staying in their environment or in their...
And as you can see, all the women here, are you seeing anyone without a hijab? Just in case you are wondering what religious affiliation, are they Christians? Maybe they are, but as you can see, or maybe we are looking at nuns, telling us their stories, obviously.
So even sometimes if they come and they were examined, or if they had that other doctors are coming from somewhere, if they will say they will come. If they come, they will examine them. Even if they say they can't do it, after a time, another time, they will still come. So because they are already comfortable with the hospital environment.
On his part, Dr. Ado Zakari, a fistula surgeon who is also a consultant public health physician, said he had been operating obstetric fistula since 1999.
There are situations where this has become his specialization. This is, you went to you went to medical school, and this is your specialization. Another thing you should notice is there's a story. I don't have the video here because it was a long story. The person telling the story was a long interview. She was telling the story of somebody in Lagos, which is rare. In fact, the person who was telling it said it was a rare, it was a rare case of VVF in Lagos. Very rare. In fact, she said when she had the case, she was shocked. In Lagos, but the lady said, yes, she has VVF and she was living in Lagos. So they were trying to get her to, find a place for her where she can have the operation and get well and, get solution to her health problem. And there was no hospital in Lagos that could, perform surgery for VVF patients in Lagos. And do you know why there was no hospital in Lagos that does that? Because that is not a case that arises in Lagos. People medical practitioners in Lagos don't have that case. So you don't see VVF surgeons or surgeons that can perform that can carry out that surgery in Lagos. She had to go to the north. She had to go to Zaria in Kaduna. That's where she had to go. The lady had to go there to get the surgery. She could not get it in Lagos because this was not a case that you see in Lagos. That's tell you where this happens and how frequent it happens in those places, that you now have practitioners who specialize solely on doing this. You even have NGOs who now specialize on repairing these women or trying to repair these women. You have politicians who now are like, oh, this is we are doing a program to perform surgery to 700 VVF patients. It is now a thing in the north, a common thing. Oh, in fact, politicians now use it to brag. It's part of their campaign. This, you know how Joe Biden will be like, and I created 5,000 jobs, or I created 10,000 jobs. You see a politician from the north say, and I gave, and I sponsored the surgery of 500 VVF patients, and people will clap for him. That is what you have in the north. And this is proudly brought to you by Islamic marriage. Let's see if we can look at something else. And of course, because Islam or Unraveled cannot talk about anything that has to do with the subject, the best thing for him to do, which I applaud, of course, this is what we call the perfect, way to debunk or anything I'm saying, is to distract. Let's, instead of talking about child marriage, let's talk about 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11, verse 3, which is one of the police scriptures. Let us talk about that instead. Why talk about child marriage when we can talk about I don't even know which of the Corinthians, which is first or second, but Corinthians, 1 Corinthians like that. Let's talk about that Corinthians. And even though it has absolutely nothing to do with child marriage and to do with VVF and to do with what we are discussing, but it is best we focus on that, because that is you create your reminded me of when we are in school. There's something students will do, or lecturers will say students do. There's a question your examiner has set for you in the you see on the exam paper, on the question paper, but you can't answer that question. Then what do you do as a student? You create your own question that looks similar to the question that you are being asked, and somehow in close proximity with the question you are being asked, and then you answer that question, and then you be like, I've answered the question. And I remember one of our lecturers say, we'll ask you questions, people will ignore our question, you set a question for yourselves, and then you answer that question. That's what Islam Unraveled is doing. We are talking about child marriage, but no, he's not interested in that conversation, because he knows that it exposes just how ridiculous and evil and wicked his religion is. Instead, he's going to do whataboutism. Oh, and the whataboutism does not even have anything to do with child marriage. No, let us talk about Corinthians instead. Islam Unraveled. If your brain has the ability to retain what I'm saying and not distract. If you really have the attention, if you really don't have the attention of a fly, can you at least focus on what we are saying right now? We are talking about child marriage. Oh, child marriage is what we are talking about. If you can focus on that and stop distracting us with another Corinthians, okay? And don't just tell us, what is the justification for what we have just seen according to your understanding of your scripture? How do you justify this? Or at the very least, recognize that it is wrong. But trust me, he's not going to do that. He's not. He's just watch. The next thing will be another Corinthians. He's going to all the Corinthians. Whether we'll have to be the one to discover whether it is Corinthians 2 or Corinthians 3, or I say Corinthians 3 or Corinthians 1. It's just going to be Corinthians, one of the police scriptures. You just bring them out for us to, to talk about. Let me see if we can go through one more of this, Oh, these are awesome, stories.
The trauma of child marriage never goes away.
There's one I'm hoping to. This is not it. There's one that I want to bring out. This is not it.
And for you.
Okay, I think it's this one. And this is the part I want to play. I want to play this part. And this is talking about this is them deliberating about passing this is them hearing a bill on child protecting the girl child in Kaduna. I think this is in Kaduna State, right? Listen to what this Deputy Speaker of the Kano House of Assembly. I think this is the Deputy Speaker of the Kano House of Assembly. I don't know what year this is, but I don't think it is this year. And this is what he has to say. And I want you to pay close attention to what he has to say.
Laws that will uphold the word go rights of the girl child. Since from the word go, our ancestors believe that a girl can be married to somebody at the age of 13 and delivered even at home.
Without going to a hospital.
Without going to the hospital. Of course. And our religion does not prohibit that one.
And this is the moment of truth. What did he say? He said, okay, and I will agree with him. I agree with everything he has said. I'm not even going to this. I'm not saying that, it is okay, women should of 13 should get married. No, I'm saying everything he's saying, there is truth in it, which is, yes, historically in Africa, and I'm not going to deny it because it is true. I'm not like Unraveled, Islam Unraveled, who is going to distract from the truth or try to ignore certain truths. No, we are going to talk the truth, say the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is, even if it makes me in a way or my culture in a way look bad, because there are many things about what we did in the past that are horrible. Okay, I've said so many of the horrible things we did as Igbos in the past that are despicable, right? Glory to God, thanks to Christianity, thanks to colonialism, thanks to our exposure to Western civilization, we no longer practice those things. One of those things is child marriage. In Igbo culture, child marriage was a thing, was practiced. Okay? It was. Customarily, it was the case that women were getting married so young. But then what did we know? We didn't know anything. We didn't have the knowledge that we have right now. The things we know about the female reproductive system now are things we didn't know back then. Back then, we thought sickle cell anemia was Ogbanje. But now we know better. And that is why you see in places in the South, child marriage, the trend of child marriage that you find in the North is not what you find in the South. Why is that? We are all talking about culture, right? People always say, it's a cultural thing. But why do you notice that in places, you see, in a place like Nigeria, you have one part of the country still drowning in that culture, another part of the country out of that culture? He just gave the reason. The reason is because in Islam, it is allowed. He said, our religion does not forbid that. Our religion allows that. And that is the problem. Look, you can watch so many documentaries on child marriage in Nigeria, and they will always, these are the things they will mention. They'll say, it is economical, it is cultural. And then maybe lastly, they'll just slightly throw in the fact that it is religious. But I like this one here because it's like, no, this thing is religious. Okay? And because it is religious, it is going to be a problem.
So for us to come one day to say that let us marry the idea of the Western world, to stop or to ask our populace parents not to marry any longer a girl at the child of 18, 13, not until they have reached 18, it will not go well. But in changing that clause from 13 years to 18, that will be a problem for us. A lot of consultation has to be made.
Well, there it is. He just said it exactly what it is. for this to change, it is going to be serious. You cannot just come to people who, based on culture, one, I will grant that, and also religion, have been programmed to think that this is okay, especially the religious aspect. Especially the religious aspect. Because it's one thing if people like African cultures are not that. The truth is, let me tell you, African cultures are very fickle. If you expose the average African person who is not dogmatic, who does not have a religion like Islam, if you expose that person to Western ideology and Western way of life, they quickly adapt. They quickly not just adapt, but adopt it. They quickly do. They can quickly recognize that this is a better way of life, and they adopt it. That's what you find in the South, very predominant in the South. Southerners are on the race to be as liberal as possible. But in the North is where you have a problem. And the reason why it is no longer a cultural issue, but now a religious issue, is because you have a custom that has now been approved. It has been given the stamp of approval by a religion. You now have a religion that says it is okay. And that religion is very prevalent and very strong in the North, such that people in the North don't even value, a great number of them, I'm not saying all of them, but a great number of them don't even value Western education or the Western way of life. Many of them see it as sacrilegious. And why they view it as sacrilegious is because of religion. So based on that, you telling them, oh, you need to stop, because a knowledge that we got from our exposure to things that come from the West tells us that, it is not good to marry a child at the age of 13. You want to tell me that is better than the perfect speech of Allah? And this man rightly noted that, look, it is going to be difficult, if not impossible. Let me bring up one story. Just maybe this is what I will use to close. This is one story that I want to bring up. I hope I'll be able to bring it up, because I wasn't planning to talk about it. Let me bring this up. All right, let's read this article. I can't find a particular place in the article, but let me give you the gist of the article. This is Sanusi. This is Sanusi Lamido the second. Okay, Sanusi Lamido the second is, I don't know if he's still the current emir of I don't know what is it. I don't know if it's Kano State. Yeah, I think he's the current emir of Kano State. He was also an emir in the past, and he was removed. Someone else was put in place, and now someone else has been removed and he has been put in place. Because Sanusi Lamido is a very educated person. This man is very educated. He was one time the president of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So this is somebody who is very educated, and also he's somebody who was outspoken about child marriage. Sanusi was outspoken about child marriage. He even gave a speech about it, right? And let me see if this news covers it. Sanusi Lamido II, Nigeria's second highest Islamic authority, is on a mission to end child marriage, right? As the emir of Kano in northern Nigeria, one of the 13 states where there is no minimum age for marriage, he is well placed to understand the issue. Yet Sanusi, a huge symbolic religious figure, is at pains to point out that it is a social rather than scriptural problem. Is at pains to point out that it is a social rather than scriptural problem. Oh, it is a social. Is that okay? Every day you are dealing with young girls who are withdrawn from schools and are married, often into abusive or vulnerable situation, then divorced and left with nothing, says Sanusi. There is an idea in the north of Nigeria that child marriage is Islamic, but it is not an article of faith. It is something society decided for themselves. Okay. Although the legal age of marriage is 18 in Nigeria's is the legal age for marriage is 18, the Nigerian constitution allows states to set their own limits. This gives child marriage a legal and cultural foothold in regions across the country, including Kano and other areas of largely Muslim North. According to Girls Not Bride, a coalition of more than 700 organizations working to end early and forced marriage, 96% of girls in northern Nigeria, 96% of girls in Nigeria's northwest are married before they turn 18. The UN Population Fund is working with the government to end child marriage by 2030. By 2030 in Kano, it is specifically working with the state government and specifically the Kano Emirate Council to set a legal age limit. Sanusi has proposed setting the legal age at 17 or younger, provided consent is given by a judge. But his view has ruffled feathers in the conservative region, not only among local clerics who believe any age restriction on marriage is unacceptable, but also among campaigners who want an outright ban of child marriage before the age of 18. Why am I proposing a third eye? Sanusi explained. Our approach has been to offer reforms that can pass, because if you say you are outlawing child marriage completely, they, the religious establishment, will respond that you can't prohibit what has not been prohibited in Islamic law, but you can say it needs to be regulated. You can see right here that although he said earlier that, oh, this has nothing to do with Islamic law, this has nothing to do with the Quran, but he's noticing that those who object to his position are objecting to his position based on Islamic law. Okay. Zubaida Abubakar, a UN Population Fund program analyst for adolescent sexual and reproductive health, feels Sanusi's plan is not ideal, but recognizes the challenges he faces. Okay. Let me see how long this is, because I don't want. Okay, it's not long. He faces. We are still working to end child marriage, but at the same time, we recognize his campaign is a huge step from 2 years ago, says Abubakar. When we had this discussion, then people were saying the age should be 13. Abubakar says the Emir's advocacy offers unique validation for the campaign in local communities. We have an adolescent girl initiative. We have an adolescent girls initiative where we are targeting about 114,000 girls, helping their access to education and funding safe space to teach them about their reproductive system and give them confidence and agency. We are making progress, but the palace are the custodian of the culture in Kano. We are making progress, but the palace are the custodian of the custom in Kano. Their impact goes much further, and there is already a change in attitude. Sanusi, who married his fourth wife, now this is something you need to take note of. Sanusi married his fourth wife when she was 18, but this is wrong. He married his fourth wife when she was 17. I don't know why these people added one more age. When he married his fourth wife was at 17. And why am I reading this, and why I want us to note this is a man who is fighting to stop child marriage in the north. And he's saying, look, we need to make it progressive. We cannot come up and say 18. But we can say 17. We can say, or 16. Right? And he looks like a guy who is progressive, and he should be progressive in his view on child marriage, right? But this same man married somebody when she was 17. 17. That is, even he was paying lip service. He was paying lip service to the idea of, oh, let us change the law. He himself was not abiding by the law he wants to propose. That is what you have in northern Nigeria. That even the most progressive person you can find is still wants to practice it. And here they are writing, oh, the attitude is changing. Look at the changing of the attitude. Sanusi married his fourth wife when they said 18 here, but I will bring I want to bring one now that says, here's the article. This is from the Daily Mail. We are reading something from the Guardian. Those ones are not Nigerian publication. They are US publication. Emir Sanusi set to marry 17-year-old as fourth wife, not 18, 17-year-old. And this is the person who is saying, "Oh, we want to change the attitude, we want to progress, we want we want to turn things around." But even he is still eyeing small children. That is what we are dealing with in northern Nigeria. And why does this problem exist? He wants to make it look like, and Sanusi is in his speech, he's trying to, it's not an Islamic thing, it is a cultural thing. Right? And his opponents are like, no, it is Islamic. It is Islamic. There is no age restriction in Islam. There is no age restriction in Islam. And that is why these 12 northern states have not put an age restriction on marriage, because in Islam there is none. How dare you? How dare you come up with a law that Muhammad himself did not come up with? So that's the problem we are dealing with in northern Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen. That is the problem we are dealing with in northern Nigeria. But of course, I know there are people who want me to talk about Catholic priests. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have finished ranting for 2 hours. I have finished ranting for 2 hours, and I'm like, I hope you guys had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys learned something. You learned something about child marriage and about Sharia law. Okay, this is what Sharia law talks about. Okay, this is what Sharia law does talk about. This is what it provides for. This is what it does. This is what they do. You know, this is what they do. This is what they do. So guys, this is Islam for you. This is child marriage in Islam for you. It is a real thing. You know, whenever we talk about Muhammad's marriage and we criticize Muhammad's marriage, people say, oh, but that happened a long time ago. And that it was based on the custom of the time. And I'm like, yeah. If Muhammad was alive, was born in Kaduna, he will also have a child bride too. And people need to understand that what he did back then still has implication today. It has not stopped. It's not like child marriage stopped. And now we are talking about something that happened retrospect. We're talking about things that are still happening today, right now. And the excuse people are giving for it, the excuse that is given, when people come up to change these laws, and this is not just northern Nigeria, this is Yemen. When people come up, let us change the law. The response is, you can't change this law because it is Islamic. That is the objection. The vehement objection, and it's not coming from a fringe minority. It's not coming from radicals. It's not radicals. Listen, it's not Boko Haram that is saying this. It's not ISWAP. It's not Ansaru. It is not Fulani headsmen that are saying this. These are mainstream northern Nigerian Muslim clerics and sheikhs. They are the ones saying this. So when they tell you the UK is dying for the Sharia, or when they tell you Sharia law is best when it comes to this, is what they mean. This is what they are advocating for. This is what they want. When they say we don't want your liberalism, we don't want your democracy, we don't want your free society. We have our own deen, we have our own Sharia. This is what they are talking about. This is what they mean. Let us see if we can see one more video. Just one more. One more. Maybe this one will cheer me up. Maybe it won't cheer you guys up, but it will cheer me up. Let me find something that will make me happy.
Wondering though, and I'm not trying to be.
Let me find something that will make me happy. And this is from my two favorite guys in the world. This is from Mohammed Hijab and Sneeko.
Wondering though, and I'm not trying to be offensive in any sense, but I've had debates with a lot of blue-haired feminists and these types of people. And when I talk about my interest in Islam, they bring up the fact that the Prophet Muhammad, he was married to a girl that was underage. What is the response to that? Because I don't know how to respond to that in a debate.
Yeah, we've done. I'm part of something called the Safe.
So Sneeko is asking, whenever I encounter these kuffars, these Christians, these Islamophobes, right? They always tell me about, Muhammad's marriage to Aisha, 9 years old. What do I respond to that? How do I respond to that? Muhammad Hijab, tell me, how do I debunk that? Okay? And I'm very sure that people like Unravel Islam Unraveled and Starlight Khan and Impossible Man, he's not here too. Anyway, he's not here, but he too is one of those people. Maybe they've asked the same questions and they realize that the answer is not satisfactory, which is why they always deflect. But here is Muhammad Hijab to give you, somebody. I'm very sure he's like his imam is strong, right? And his wisdom, his Islamic knowledge and wisdom is is pristine. So let's listen to him.
Institute, which is
he talks
detailed
about
answer of
where you can find a detailed answer.
It's not an answer. Technically, believe in Islam and not believe that the Prophet ﷺ was, and you could technically believe in Islam and not believe that the Prophet ﷺ or the Prophet Muhammad married Aisha at the age of 9. In other words, if
you are and Muhammad Hijab, you are technically lying. Technically you are lying. Yeah, are there Muslims who do not believe that the Prophet married Aisha when she was 9 years old? Yes, there are Muslims who technically do not believe that. The reasons for which they don't believe that will make people like Muhammad Hijab call them kuffars. They're like, yeah, technically, yeah, on a technicality, you are lying. Because some of them, for example, he even recognized that some of them are doing revisionism. They are doing revisionism, and this is something. Innovation in Islam, it is called innovation. You are being innovative. You should not be innovative. Is innovation allowed in Islam? No. Is revisionism not innovation? It is. So technically, are you a good Muslim if you are doing innovation? You are being innovative? No. So what technical are you talking? What technicality are you talking? Yeah, technically he's lying. And of course, what is Islam without some technical lies?
it's not an article of faith. One must believe that the Prophet Muhammad married, Aisha at the age of 9, or that there was some kind of consummation. I'm not saying this is a red herring that many people try and bring about in order to create some kind of a distraction to the key tenets of Islam. But let's take the historical account, because quite frankly, there are some revisionist accounts, which some people have brought forward today and said, no, she wasn't 9, she was 18, or she was 21, or whatever. Looking at it myself, I don't agree with those accounts. I think that those accounts are not correct. I think it's correct that he married her at the age of 9. That's what happened, and that's something that she mentions herself, in fact, and it's narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari authentically. So the question is why and how. The real answer is, bro, you're kind of alluding to it before, which is that we have social constructs.
So yes, Muhammad Hijab admitting that yes, he believes that the Prophet, that the correct Islamic narrative is that the Prophet, the great Prophet, the perfect example for all Muslims, the man who is blessed by the seal of the prophets, right? The final prophet of Allah, okay? The prophet for the whole world. The one who came to, do what Jesus himself could not do what Moses could not do what all the prophets failed to do. The man, the main man, the man that God sent and was like, after this one, no more, right? That he actually married a 9-year-old and consummated the marriage with her when she was 9. Yes, he believes that Muhammad actually sexually penetrated a 9-year-old. But here is where the gymnastics starts. This is where the acrobatics. This is where he starts doing somersault. He starts using snake in the monkey shadow. He starts doing tai chi and kung fu. This is where it starts. The mental kung fu, of course.
Social constructs, not the kind that the feminists and the ones on the far left are talking about, which is that they say sex is a social construct, or like, for example, Judith Butler said sex itself, biological sex, the penis, in a sense, is a social construct. We're not talking about it. We do have some social constructs. And ironically, I think the social constructs are those things which cannot be empirically justified. And I think one of those things.
So, according to Muhammad Hijab, there are things that are not, there are no empirical justification. There's no scientific, biological justification for them, right? According to him, one of those things that are not biologically justified, you're about to hear it. Are you ready for one of those things that are not biologically justified? That there is no biological, not just justification. I think it's not just justification he's talking about. He's talking about definition. There is no biological, empirical, scientific definition of certain things for Muhammad Hijab, which he's made to believe that because his prophet married a 9-year-old. Based on the fact that his prophet married a 9-year-old, now we have to come to the conclusion that there are certain things that are not scientifically and biologically defined. And what are those things, Muhammad Hijab? Let's hear it.
The idea of childhood.
Exactly. He said the idea of childhood is a social construct. It is not a biological terminology. There's nothing biologically that determines what a child is. Keep that in mind.
I'll be totally honest with you and tell you, how do we determine what is a child? I mean,
that is a philosophical question. You need to understand that sages for ages have been trying to define this. Okay, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Darwin, Newton, Oppenheimer. This is one of the questions that have plagued mankind for ages. What is a child? Very serious question. Until date, we don't have the answer for that. It's a really serious philosophical question. And Islam provides a solution to that. And that solution is seen in the marriage of the prophet. So let's see the explanation therein. Are you ready? Muhammad Hijab, take it away.
Historically, we've always understood the idea of childhood as corresponding with either biological ability or psychological capability or a combination of both.
So he's saying, based on historical, practices, we've always seen childhood based on biological or psychological, elements of what have determined what a child is. It is this is called appeal to tradition. That's what he's doing. He's appealing to tradition. He say it's like me coming to you and saying, based on tradition, Igbos have always seen sickle cell anemia as ogbanje. Therefore, is sickle cell anemia not a social construct? Think about it. One time we called it ogbanje, and now we are calling it sickle cell anemia. Is it really that? Or are we not just creating social constructs? Is it indeed true that sickle cell anemia is a biological reality? Or is it just society coming up with these terminologies? What is sickle cell anemia actually? Deep. You understand? Or we keep going.
The ability of somebody to work or to be domestic or have effective domesticality and all these kinds of things. When I looked at the issue from a historical perspective, I started to realize why the West in particular has started to redefine what it means to be a child.
So he said the West is trying to redefine, has tried to redefine. So this new understanding we have about adulthood came from the West, and it came from the West trying to redefine things, based, of course, on, social constructs. And you will listen to, some of the social constructs he discovered. Great discovery from Muhammad Hijab. Let's hear it.
I think I've got the answer.
He has gotten the answer.
In the 1800s, you'll find that, quite frankly, people were getting married in the United Kingdom at the age of 10 and 12. And in America, all the way down in Delaware, it was actually 9 years old or 7 years old. People it was legal to get married at this age. So when did it shift? It actually shifted here in the United Kingdom when 1914, obviously, as you know, 1914 to 1918, there was World War One. And after World War One, there was an infrastructural mess in parts of Western Europe, and the ideas of education started to change. So legislatively, there was a law that was put forward in 1924 or 1925. I cannot remember exactly the year, but it was a law that changed the marriage age from 12 years old.
Oh, Benny, shut up. Just shut up. I cannot even. Just shut up. What is this guy talking about? Just shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut your stupid mouth up. The reason why a child is 18 is the age is because of biological realities. Okay? It is best to put it. Yeah, there are women who mature faster than are matured and can have a child before 18. But to be safe, because you're not going to test every woman individually. To be safe, 18 is the best place to put it and say, okay, by 18, biologically, this person is physically able to have children and not have complications. And even in some circumstances, 18 is not even enough. Like in places where you have poor nutrition, 18 is not even ideal. And in those very places where you have those poor nutrition and poor health issues and poor diet and everything, is in those same places where you have Islam tell people to marry at the age of 12. And you're opening your bearded mouth to tell me about World War II and all this. And here is this idiot looking like he's getting the revelation of God himself. Look at his stupid his stupid face, looking like I am hearing something I've never heard before in my life. What are you talking about? What exactly are you talking about? You know what? We are done. Oh, let me see. Let me be patient enough to hear him just speak more. Okay, let me just be patient enough to hear him speak more.
Old to about 16 years old. So in England, where I'm speaking from, the age to get married was 12, and then it changed to 16. Now you might ask, what is the reason? Actually, funny enough, ironically, once again, part of it was to do with some protesting from the first wave feminists. I looked at some Hansard records, which are basically the records of Parliament and so on. So I was wanting to see what exactly the reason was. Another part of the reason, in my opinion, was the fact.
Yeah, we said women are matured at the age of 18 because of the Second World War. That is essentially his logic. That's his brilliant discovery.
That education started to be seen as, or when somebody would finish education, would start to be seen as the appropriate time of when adulthood begins. So in the United Kingdom, for example, I think in America is very similar. The age until compulsory education is 16 years old. So it's almost as if they're telling us, look, you're not a real man, you're not a real woman, you're not an adult yet until you finish the educational program that we have in place for you. You have to be 16 and then you're an adult then. Now, this is completely alien in the historical landscape. I mean, this has never been how any civilization, almost at any point in time, almost.
Which is also another lie, but hey, let him keep going.
At any point in time.
It never occurred at any point in history that culturally people were not getting married until 16. Never happened. Throughout history, people were getting married at the age of 4, 3. In fact, they were getting married in the womb. That was used to be the case until World War One, and people were not like, let's get educated. Then they were like 18. You understand? That's what it was.
5,000 to 6,000 years of human civilizational existence has ever understood what it means to be an adult. Now, I'm not saying therefore we should change it and go back to our old days, because it's very difficult now to get a young person of today to do the actions that they were doing yesterday. But what I am saying is that it makes no sense to take these social constructs, which are not based on biological fact. They are merely social constructs, literally things which have been put in place or have been understood to be okay, aesthetically pleasing, relativistic understandings by liberal people after the First World War and Second World War to be more particular, it became even more pronounced because it was even bigger mess then.
Oh my God! So the length and breadth of the rubbish that is spewing, as in just gushing out of the mouth of this moron, is that maturity is not a biological reality. You know, a child, somebody being matured, it's not a biological reality. It is relative. It is very relative, and it is just people just came, just decided that, arbitrarily for no reason other than some relativist. You know what? Maybe the transing the kids movement, you just adopt this Islamic nonsense and say, you see, what does it really mean to be an adult? Age is relative. How do we come to the conclusion that a 10-year-old cannot know if they are a man or a woman? That's the same nonsense he spewed. That is just the same nonsense. This is why people on the left and Muslims always find common ground, despite how antithetical to each other they are. They have a lot of common ground. Like they are the same side, they are different sides of the same coin, believing and applying the same nonsense, demented logic, always ignoring biological realities because it doesn't favor their nonsense.
Infrastructurally, and then they needed education even more to fix up economies. And so this idea of childhood corroborating or corresponding or being commensurate with educational age, or the end of childhood being when the education ends, became even more prominent. So what I'm saying is that yes, it did happen according to the most authentic historical account. And no, we don't think there's any problem with it at all. We think that it's just because we have a different idea of what it means to be a child, which can be tracked historically. But now, if the situation has changed, we'd say that the general principle in Islam is, you can do what you kind of want, so long as, I'm not going to say you can do what you want so long as you harm. You can marry whomever you want to marry, so long as it doesn't cause them harm, physical and psychological. So, for example, if I marry a 100-year-old woman, or sneak.
So according to him, he said the Islamic rule, according to Muhammad's hijab's understanding of Islamic law, probably that is his understanding is something that the Muslims in northern Nigeria have not yet tapped into. Also, the Muslim leaders and clerics and sheikhs in Yemen and other parts of in Afghanistan and co, if not tapped into that. That is his wisdom is as long as you don't harm you don't cause harm, to the lady. What is harm? Define that harm. As long as you don't cause harm, physical or psychological. Even though the child may be crying on her way to her husband's house, is there really harm that is being caused on, or psychological? Is there really harm? That is the principle in Islam, the harm principle that Muhammad Hijab just pulled out of his behind.
If you marry with your tank top, 100-year-old woman, and
like in Islam, marrying a 100-year-old woman is not allowed. Where?
And you get involved with her intimately, she might die. I mean,
sorry, I can't even allow him to finish his nonsense. One thing you need to know about this harm principle that he just discussed here. There's no school of Sharia. There is a harm principle in some school of Sharia law, but the harm principle is that if you are not going to damage the woman's internal organ whenever you sexually penetrate her, then you are not going to cause her harm. That is the harm principle. The harm principle does not apply to, we should be able to push out children. That's not. And even some school of those don't even apply this so-called harm principle. That's why an 8-year-old in Yemen got married and died on her wedding night. Harm principle, my foot.
Have some kind of health problem. So we would say that, well, if you were to be intimate with a 14-year-old or 13-year-old who's got huge hips and huge breasts and huge body, I mean, quite frankly, we would say it's not.
Yeah, and let me go back and listen to this nonsense again.
Or 13-year-old who's got huge hips.
Yeah, a 13-year-old who's got huge hips and huge breast. But when Muhammad Hijab sees a 13-year-old, he's already imagining the hips and the breast. That's look at this 13-year-old has huge hips and huge breast. Jesus Christ. Guys, sorry. Forgive me for cursing. Or for taking the Lord's name in vain, not cursing.
Huge breasts and huge body, I mean, quite frankly, we would say it's not going to have the same effect medically. I mean, no one can make the argument. But in these countries where we live in now, one is legal and one is illegal. So, for in other words, you can't marry a 100-year-old woman, but you can marry that girl that's, you know, you can't be. So you're a pedophile if you go for the girl that's got the hips. And once again, pedophilia is very relative, because if you go to Russia,
pedophilia is not relative. Although we use the term pedophilia to refer to any, you know, sex with anybody that is underage, but pedophilia is having sex with a prepubescent child. If you have sex with a prepubescent child, you are a pedophile, which is exactly what Muhammad did. So pedophilia is not relative. In all your pedanticness, if there's anything like that, if you being technical and all your technical, you still could not recognize Muhammad Hijab, that pedophilia has an actual definition. And that has a real, even though that is not how it is being used today, but there's an actual definition, a technical definition. In your bid to be technical, you ignore the technical definition of pedophilia because you want to say pedophilia is relative. Because in Russia there is a different age for marriage. Limitation for marriage. The age of limitation is different in Russia than you find in, let's say, in the UK, and what you find in some other parts of the world. So therefore, it is relative.
The age of consent is 14, but in England it's 16, and parts of America it's 18, and other parts of America is 18, and other parts of the world is 21. So one man's pedophile is another man's good citizen, a liberal actor. So the point of who sets the age is another issue, because it's very arbitrary at this point. But we're not saying, therefore, we should go back to a time where the age is not set. We're not saying any of that stuff. We're just saying that to use this as an argument against.
Another thing that I like about Muhammad Hijab is how he's able to speak out of both sides of his mouth. Oh, it is arbitrary, but we are not saying we should go back to the age when it was. But look, you need to. It's not like we are not saying. What are you saying? You're not saying you cannot use that as an argument. Okay, so Russia is 14. Some places is 16. Some places is 18, and you want to use this arbitrary, whatever. Let's say it is arbitrary, by your observation and the point you're trying to make. You want to use all of this to justify 9? You want to use that to justify the fact that in Islam there is no age restriction whatsoever. So a 5-year-old can get married. You want to use that to justify that?
Against the veracity of the truthfulness of the religion of Islam is unsatisfactory, I would say. What do you think about that? And feel free to push back.
I think that's a good explanation.
It is, Nico. It is, right? Very good explanation.
I think 9 is very young.
But he thinks 9 is very young. Thank God. Thank God he thinks 9 is very young. Glory to God. He finally at least can at least Nico, in all his stupidity, can still recognize that. I think 9, even he that that in a way doesn't have a problem with pedophilia. Like I think 9 is too much. Like, come on, 9 is too young. Your prophet, Sneeko, your prophet married somebody at the age of 9.
9 is very young.
Yes, I mean 9 is very young. Yeah, it's very young to us.
Yeah, but according to Muhammad Hijab, young. What is young? How do you define young? 9, young to us. Yeah, there's no. Look, even my ancestors in their backwardness did not marry 9-year-olds. My ancestors in their ignorance did not. They are better, way better than Muhammad. And I'm proud of that. Very proud of that. That's why I'm proud of my. Thank God we didn't have Muhammad in our history. If not, this man would have taken my ancestors from marrying people at the age of 13 to marrying them at the age of 9, and making sure they keep marrying at the age of 9 till 2024 and forever. Glory to God that we have Christianity in the South. If not, this is the nonsense we'll be dealing with. Young, what is the meaning of young? That's the ridiculous argument we'll be having in 2024. What is young? Because somebody wants to justify a 50-something-year-old man banging a 9-year-old.
You see.
How old was Muhammad at the time? We don't need to stay on this subject. There's other we could talk. I was just wondering because in debates I want to figure out how to continue because that always comes up, especially from Christians.
I agree.
When the debate comes up, I wanted to see how to navigate that.
Okay. Well, what is young? What does it mean to be young?
To be innocent, to be childlike, and even not even going through puberty. Also, physically not matured yet.
Okay. Beautiful, excellent. So you've mentioned some key terms, right? Innocence and puberty, because these are things which are measurable. Now we can start to talk about it.
You can measure
frankly,
innocence.
we believe that Aisha at the time she had gone through puberty.
So this is one of my favorite lies in this whole nonsense. Is that you believe that a 9-year-old had gone through puberty. He not say has started menstruating. She has completed. When you say somebody has gone through puberty, you mean the person has completed at 9. At 9 years of age, Aisha had completed puberty. Look, leave believing in God. People always say believing in God is huge. Believing that Aisha at 9 had completed puberty. It requires so much of you to believe that than to believe that a virgin gave birth. People say Christians have, you believe that a virgin gave birth, and people use it to mock us Christians. Muslims believe that a 9-year-old had gone through puberty and is a full-fledged woman. And for that reason, other 9-year-olds moving forward can also become full-fledged women. Come on.
So we actually have evidence of Aisha.
There is medical report. There is medical report from Aisha that shows that she had
saying that she had gone through puberty at that time.
By the way, that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. It doesn't exist. That's a lie. No hadith talks about Aisha saying she has gone through. She was still playing with dolls. We read it. She was still playing with dolls. And people who are allowed to play with dolls are people who have not yet hit puberty. In Islam, that is the requirement. For you to be able to play with dolls, that means you're still a child, a prepubescent child. Well, according to Mohammed Hijab, maybe now he's realizing, the best way to keep Sneeko is to lie to him. And now he has gone full lying mode.
So that's one aspect.
And even Sneeko in his fish brain is not like, 9-year-old, gone through puberty, completed it, 9? He's like, yeah. It used to happen back in the 7th century. Yeah, it must have been happening in an Arabian desert. The people who are not well nourished. I don't know the kind of diet they were having in a desert. That people like under such condition will have gone through puberty at the age of 9. He had that, and his brain did not tell him, what did I just hear? He's like, I'm hearing the word of God right now.
The reason why he didn't marry her before, because she didn't have...
They even had the audacity to put it on the screen. Aisha had gone through puberty. Hey, God. Lord have mercy.
She hadn't gone through puberty yet. Now, if you look at the numbers of people that go through puberty at whatever age, you will find a percentage of people even today that go through puberty at the age of 9. So
let's Google it. Let's Google it. Maybe I'm wrong, and I will admit it if I'm wrong. Trust me, I will. Can a person complete? Can a woman? Can a girl? Let's maybe a guy can. Who knows? Can a girl complete puberty at 9? At 9 years old. Okay. Let me ask, is there a rare case of girls completing puberty? I'm talking about precocious puberty. There's an article about precocious puberty from WebMD, but it doesn't say anything about completing it. It says something about starting. Let's click on it to see what it's saying, because it's talking about precocious early puberty. Precocious puberty, as also known as early puberty, is when a child's body starts to go through the changes into an adult body too soon. Precocious starts on average in girls between ages 8 and 13, in boys in girls between the age 8 and 13, and in boys between the age 9 and 14. Girls who show early signs of puberty and its progression before age 8 and boys before age 9 are considered precocious. It affects 1 out of 5,000 children. Many experts say that's an average. Puberty starting early in the US than it did in the past. That means many experts say that on average, puberty is starting earlier in the US than it did in the past. So what we see people starting puberty at the age of 8, 9 is earlier than what used to happen in the past. But we are supposed to believe that Aisha, a woman that was divinely prepared by Allah for Muhammad, finished her own in the 6th century or in the 7th century at the age of 9. The average age when girls get their first period have stayed roughly the same, but studies suggest that early signs like breast development are happening a year earlier than they did decades ago. Precocious puberty type. There are 2 types. There are central precocious puberty and peripheral precocious puberty symptoms. That is, breast start to grow, menstruation, typically not until 2 to 3 years after the early symptoms start. For boys, it's, blah, blah, blah. There are other conditions that may look like early puberty to parents and sometimes even to pediatricians, but aren't. You have premature this and premature this. Precocious puberty causes, peripheral precocious puberty risk factor, gender, genetics, race, international adoption, or obesity, precocious puberty diagnosis, and stuff like that. And you can see that there's nothing about this that even say that they complete puberty. Even if they start it early, they complete it by 9. But based on the supreme knowledge of Muhammad Hijab, that is definitely the case. Anyways, guys, let me bring this live stream to an end. I think I've stayed way too long. Thank you, guys. Thank you for staying with me this long. Let me see if there's any super chat that I have not responded to. I want to. This is from Georgie. He said, "Buy yourself a new bill with this." Thank you. I don't know what a new bill is, but thank you. And I want to thank Pagans Games for gifting 5 Nigerian Perspective membership. Thank you so much. And also Jazz gifted 5 Nigerian Perspective membership. Thank you. I really appreciate all of that. I really do. All right, guys, we brought this to an end. Now you know what here is Islam unraveled. If you can believe that Mary gave birth to Jesus without a male intervention around the age of 12 to 16, then I don't think there's a problem believing that Aisha had puberty early. You see, this is the problem. Unraveled, Islam unraveled. The Bible makes that claim that a virgin conceived, right? But here's the thing. Even your Islamic sources does not make that claim. You people are the one coming up with that claim. The claim now that Aisha had gone through puberty by the age of 9. You people are the ones coming up with that claim. The Quran does not make the claim. The Hadith does not make the claim. You are the one making the claim. And it's a claim you are making because you want to justify Muhammad's marriage. You see, that's the problem. That's the difference. If the Quran has said that, or the Hadith rather, has said that Aisha is a miraculous child, such a miracle happened upon the life of Aisha that by the age of 9, she had gone through puberty by the power of Almighty Allah, that Allah did it because he was trying to prepare a bride for Muhammad. If that was said, that is a different conversation. I'm telling you, it is a different conversation. But that's not what happened. That is not the story. The story is that nothing like that happened. She was not divinely prepared. There is no record that, oh, this is a miracle that happened. It is people. Thousands of years later, because Muslims are embarrassed by this fact that miracles are not happening in retrospect. That is what this is about. You see, that is the difference. I hope that helps you to understand certain things. I wish the same thing too. I really wish the same thing too. I wish once somebody like this, like Mohammed Hijab and Costa saying stuff like that, people should just keep them, watch them. They should be put in. They should, as in, people should be watching. People, there should be agencies that are watching these people. Bring them in for questioning. Let us know what's up with you guys. And then in Nigeria, where it is, they are just doing it and they are going and getting away with it because of Sharia law. I mean, it's well. Anyways, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Every one of you that has been with me thus far. It's been interesting for me. I hope it is the same for you. And I hope you've learned something today about Sharia law. You've learned something today about, child marriage in Islam, child marriage in Nigeria, the cause of child marriage, and how Islam has really, 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 really made northern Nigeria a complete desolation. That is what it has done. And that is what it does to any society. So beware of Islam. And have a wonderful day or night. And until we meet again, peace.